we pray. Kneeling low, hear what we say. Freedom calls in every tone. Faith is built on hearts of stone. Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp, they cut right through. Real talk for the soul's appeal. Prayers rise up the wounds they heal. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. Each step brings another fight. Breaking chains, we're seeking light. Voice of power won't be tamed. With His love, we're never ashamed. Lift our voices to the sky. A righteous perspective high. On this path we won't back down. For the Father wears the crown. From the ashes we shall rise. Hope is found deep in our eyes. Every word a battle cry. With the Father none deny.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday Eve. Happy Thursday to you guys. Welcome back to ARP in the morning. I am your host, Wise Man, and I appreciate you guys pulling up. Shout out to everyone that has pulled up this morning. Shout out to my girl B in the building early, right at 9:31 on the dot. Okay, I see you. I see you. What's going on? Shout out to all my blues that have pulled up already. Shout out to Lori Otteson. First person in the chat this morning at 8:32 a.m. Happy Thursday morning, ARP family. Thank you very much for pulling up, man. I hope all is well with you guys. Hey, this week really feels like it's flown by because I kind of took the day off on Monday, at least from doing a live stream. I did, put some content out on Monday, but kind of took the day off, and then it's like, wow, here we are. It's Thursday already. The weekend is pretty much here, essentially. I know, we all got another day of work tomorrow, but goodness gracious, these daggone weeks are flying by, man. This is the last week of May. We get into June. What is that? Sunday, first day of the week. And it's crazy, man. It's just crazy how fast these weeks are flying by. It's unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable. I mean, you got to think about this. For those of you guys that work in sales or y'all look at things by the quarter, if you work in retail, I don't know, we always look at things by the quarter. And quarter two, which is what we're in right now, quarter two is pretty much almost over. You know what I'm saying? It's almost over. April, May, gone. It's crazy. It's in my brain, to look at, I look at the year by the quarter, And it's just like, goodness gracious, quarter two's about done. We're almost halfway through the year. I mean, it is insane how fast this year's flying by, man. We got 141 people in the building this morning, and I'm so grateful that you guys are here. Please make sure you hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Please make sure you hit that like button if you have not done so already. It doesn't cost you anything to come join the live stream, but the least you could do is for the algorithm. Hit that like button, share the stream with those that need to see it. Shout out to my folks on X. If you are watching this on X, you know that we go live on YouTube and X Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And shout out to you guys. If this is your first time pulling up to one of the live streams because you've watched, we're trying to do a little more promotion. In my shorter videos that come out later in the day, trying to do a little more promotion for the show. So if this is your first time joining a live stream, please let me know so I can show you some love and so the people in the chat can show you some love. If anybody's celebrating anything special, birthdays, kids' birthdays, anniversaries, anything along those lines, any milestones, let us know so we can show you some love as well. Like I said, man, happy Friday to you guys, man, and welcome to ARP in the morning, man. It's Friday Eve. We here. Shout out to Insanity Darlings. She says, happy Friday Eve, ARP family and friends from Richmond, Virginia. Hope everyone has a blessed day. Please do not forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe, please. And if you haven't done any of those things, please make sure you do all three. Shout out to you, Christy. And you are welcome. You are welcome. I aim to please. She says, hey, Wise, I want to thank you again for looking up the book stats yesterday. Very nice of you. You're very welcome, Christy. And thank you for pulling up this morning. Chi-Town in the building. What up, Redefine Queen? How you doing this morning? What up, Kevin Caldwell, JJ O'Hara, PK Krillin, William Walker Grimsworth. Like I said, if we got any new people up in here, new people, if you're first time to the chat, or you've been watching for a little bit, but you haven't actually participated in the chat, let us know, man. Let us know. What up, Quincy James? Texas in the building. What's going on with you, brother? Larry Montgomery, what's going on? Delinda House, what's going on with you? Soul Driver in the building. Shout out to you. Democrats spent, he says, Democrats spent $20 million to woo men back to voting for him, which will not work. I hadn't talked about that yet. And I was going to talk about that today. It was going to be one of the things I was going to talk about today. But I wanted to do a call-in show, and I don't want to have a 2.5 hour show. I think going forward, as we move into the new month, I think I want to try to tighten up the show just a little bit more. And kind of that sweet spot. I'm seeing the sweet spot is anywhere between an hour to an hour and a half. That seems like that is the sweet spot. Yesterday's show was like an hour 15. I think it was like an hour 17 minutes total. And I think the sweet spot is that hour to hour and a half. I think that's the sweet spot. So we're going to try to tighten up a little more, and get better, at that. And but still be able to have the call-ins and things of that nature. We're going to have a call-in today. Today is a call-in show today. We're going to get through this story. And I'm going to say get through, but we're going to talk about what we got to talk about here with Bernie Sanders. You got some liberals going off about what he said on the Andrew Schultz podcast. We're going to discuss that. And I want to hear from you guys, about this particular topic. It may ruffle some feathers. It may rub some people the wrong way. But hey, I feel like, these types of conversations, every now and again it's worth being had. Shout out to Big Job Ford. What's up, Ginger Snap Actress? Jane Fecto. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's up, Marla? How's it going? Toy Mafia, Elijah Burnett. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Illinois in the building. What up, Playboy Billy? What's going on with you, brother? Hope all is well with you out there. What up, Zephyr K9? Shout out to, is it Joan Moan out of Georgia? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Kiwan Lynette. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Yeah, I messed up on the time. I accidentally, when I was setting this thing up, I don't know how 10:30 got in there, but I must have, accidentally clicked the 10:30 button opposed to, or 10:30 on the drop down opposed to 9:30. Y'all know this thing is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, but I'm glad I checked it because I had to go in there and change it real fast. Shout out to AK Bauer. Said it's chilly in Northeast PA. Yeah, it's still fairly chilly out here, although we're supposed to get rain for another couple of days. Going into the weekend, I believe Saturday we're going to get some rain as well, which I'm not looking forward to, but I mean, it is what it is. We'll be begging for it come late June, July timeframe, especially as we get into August, which is the hottest time of the year out here for us. We'll be begging for it. So I'm not even going to, I'm not even going to trip too much, about what we got going on right now, just due to the fact that we'll be begging for some heat. Begging for some cooler weather, in a couple of months. What's going on, Jackie Powers out of Southern Illinois? We got Anita Pantoja out of Arizona. What's up, Barb Blake out of Missouri? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Shout out to Dennis Brandon out of Utah. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Joseph? How's it going this morning? Mr. Orsini, appreciate you pulling up. Junior Ray. We got War Machine in the building. Shout out to you. We got Iris Vera. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Steve Edmister? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. B said, since I called her out for being late. Thank you very much, sister. I appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Kev G? How's it going this morning? Salute to you. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Deborah Porter out of Queens, New York, in the building. Shout out to you. We got Giants 82. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's going on with you? What is going on? Scott Williams. Appreciate you pulling up. I heard a quote, and I wanted to read this to you guys, man. I almost feel like I need to put it on a daggone t-shirt. But there was a quote that I ran across this morning, and I thought it was phenomenal. And it just Scott Williams, you brought it. It says, "The older that I get, the faster time flies," and that kind of brought it back. It says, "Beware of old men in a profession where men die young." That's a very profound quote there. Be wary of old men in a profession where men die young. I was like, man, that's deep right there. Deep. But Scott Williams, I absolutely agree with you, man. It seems like the older I get, man, the faster time flies. Absolutely. What up, Eric Smith? How's it going this morning? Appreciate you pulling up. Leslie Artley, how's it going this morning? We got Ash Bay. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. How's it going this morning, sister? Hope all is well. What up, Mike C? How's it going, brother? What up, Buddha? How's it going this morning? New York in the house. What up, Francis Fernity? We got a rockin' hippie chick. What's going on with you? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. If you haven't done so already, man, y'all listen to Iris Vera, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for me. What up, Rhonda Evans Xander? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What's going on? Appreciate you pulling up. Hope all is well. Shout out to Amber Young. She says her daughter is graduating high school. Y'all make sure y'all show Amber Young some love. Show her daughter some love. That is awesome. That's a wonderful feeling. My youngest son and my last kid graduated high school last year, man. It's an awesome feeling. It's almost that feeling of completion. Although he still lives at the house, he's still eating all our food. He ain't going nowhere yet. But he is grown and he has graduated high school. He does have a job and he is working towards the next phases of his life. But it's too expensive, man. People still at thinking at 18 you can kick your kids out the house, man. That's just you hustling backwards and you're setting your kids up for disaster. Don't do that. For all of you guys that got young, if you got younger kids, they in high school, I know they get on your nerves and you want them to leave as quickly as possible. Don't do that. You're setting them up. It's too daggone expensive these days for any 18-year-old to get out there and think they're going to make it on their own. It is too daggone expensive. It's hard. What's up, Raphael? How's it going this morning? What up, Aaron? How's it going this morning? Says, peace, while just making my daily rounds early, checking your channel. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you pulling up. Yeah. Hey, Mike, see, I meant to say, if I said Friday, I meant to say Friday Eve. What up, Dale? How's it going this morning? First time. We got a first timer in the building. Y'all make sure y'all show Dale Landry some love in the chat. First timer says, love you in your videos. You're spot on 99.99% of the time. Hey, I know I can't be on point all the time, but I do appreciate the love, man. Thank you very much and appreciate you pulling up this morning. Y'all make sure y'all show Dale some love. Blues, y'all make sure y'all show Dale some love. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Thank you very much. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Did I miss somebody else that was new? Oh, yeah, Raphael. Shout out to you as well, man. Thank you very much for pulling up this morning, brother. He says, first time here, good and blessed morning all. Excellent channel, super informative, fair, and balanced. Keep it up, brother. Thank you very much, man. Y'all make sure y'all show Raphael some love in the chat. Appreciate you pulling up, man. Definitely appreciate that, man. Again, if this is the first time pulling up, man, y'all make sure y'all pull up this morning, man. Let us know so we can show you some love, man. As you guys can see, I got my coffee right here. You know, I got my my mushroom coffee. I'm off regular coffee at this point, man. I just can't do it. If I'm out and about, man, I'll still drink it, but you know, I just can't drink that daggone regular coffee no more, man. It really, really messes my stomach up, you know, overall. What up, Theos Fly High? Appreciate you pulling up this morning. We got Villas Hutchison. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. Got Charlie Robe. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. He says, first time Black conservative here. Background in law enforcement. Thank you very much, man. Y'all make sure y'all show Charlie Robe some love in the chat, man. First time pulling up, man. Appreciate you pulling up this morning. What up, Dion? Dion Wilson. Appreciate you pulling up this morning out of Tennessee. First time in the chat. Finally catching you live. Love what you do. Thank you for speaking truth. Thank you very much, sister. Where at in Tennessee? Are you in Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, or one of the others, you know, smaller towns, you know, in between? Let me know. I'm interested. I don't know if you know this, but I was born in Tennessee, Knoxville, that is. Still have family out there, grandparents. My uncle lives out there. I still got a lot of cousins and things of that nature that's still in Knoxville. Got a lot of people that's in Tennessee in general between Knoxville and Nashville. And then, you know, the rest of my people down in Georgia, got some folks, South Carolina, North Carolina, or whatever. I'm like the only person, you know, in my family. I do have a cousin that lives, you know, a little further away, not too far away from me, you know, up here in this area. But they're like a lot older than me. So we don't really have a real relationship like that, just because they're probably 20, 30 years older than me. So we didn't really grow up and, you know, around each other like that. But good people, good people. All right, got a super chat I want to read. Shout out to Freeman's Network with the $10 super chat. It says, "Rise, right after I gave Vince Ellison props, he went full." Oh, come on, bruh. Said he went full raccoon. All I could do was shake my head. He's bugged out. He's bugged out. Them extra tight suits cutting off his circulation to his brain. What did he say? I'd like to hear what he said, because I've watched the last few videos of Vince Everett Ellison's. You know, I don't get a chance to watch everything from everybody because I'm doing my own thing. But you know, I do, you know, support and watch his channel from time to time. But I'm interested to hear, you know, what's your disagreement, which video and what your disagreement is. I hadn't heard Vince come across in that manner. I just hadn't. I hadn't heard Vince come across in that manner. It's extremely real, in my opinion, extremely authentic. It comes from a real place. I am a huge fan of Vince Everett Ellison. I am. Kiwan, she said the same thing. She said she loves Vince Everett Ellison. I disagree with his stance on reparations stuff. Understood. I can understand that. But I really like Vince Everett Ellison a lot, though. I'm a big fan. I rock, and I support what he's doing over there, man. I support what he's doing. I do. We're going to get the show started, man. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit that like button for me. We're going to have a call-in show today. So what I'm going to do is going to be a little shorter than normal. And then I'm going to open it up for people to call in. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this particular topic or anything else for that matter. You know, if you have any questions or you know, disagreements, I'm okay with that as well. Hit that like button. Super chats will stop the show. Super thanks will stop the show. Anybody that joins the ARP family or anybody that gives an ARP family membership, that will stop the show as well. And yeah, if you'd like to support the channel in another way, obviously, you know, Cash App. You can buy me a coffee. All those links, if you in ways to support the channel, they're in the description box below. They are there. And Kiwan, to answer your question, yes, I have read the Iron Triangle. It is phenomenal. Actually, I take that back. I haven't completed the Iron Triangle. I've read a couple of others books. The 25 Lies, I did complete that. And there was one other that I completed. The Iron Triangle, I'm midway through it. I'm one of those kind of people, man. People suggest books to me and then I'll start reading them. So I'm like reading 3 or 4 books at the same time. And I just kind of cycle through them. So it takes a while to get through books because I just want to, you know, get to everything. But yeah, I'm about halfway through the Iron Triangle. It's phenomenal. And it's absolutely right. He is spot on. Spot on. Spot on. What's going on, Leslie Aaron? How's it going this morning? She says, I've seen Vince Everett Ellison live and loved his documentary, Will You Go to Hell for Me? His documentary is phenomenal. If you have not watched Will You Go to Hell for Me, you should check that out. You should check that out. It's freaking phenomenal. That's one of the better documentaries that I've seen in a while. It's one of the better documentaries that I've seen in a while. Seriously. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Mike C said, I wish I could call in, but I'm sitting at work. I'm sitting at work. It prevents that. It's all good. All good. All good. But I do appreciate you guys, man. Again, hit that like button for me. We're going to get the show started. Let's get it going.
I think a lot of voters had is like, they didn't even know if it was her. We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections, Democrats, we felt that we didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
I donated for you. I mean, I wanted you to, like, 2016, I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you supported him.
Look, but you have, in the world that I live in, you got a choice. And I mean, a lot of people, including my wife, agree with you. But, you know, you're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway, so why don't we burn it down?
Well, because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, you know, food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate, people will not have health care.
I got it.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on.
But then could we not also say, if ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
Okay. What we do know about, what we know about the Democrat Party, when it comes to their primaries, the Democrat Party sued. They sued to be able to choose who represents their party. Give me 1 second here. But they did. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, you know, and if I can pull it up real fast, I want to see if I can look it up real quick, but and see if it pops up. If I can, I want to make sure I give y'all this information. But they actually sued to be able to usurp their primaries. So, yeah, they haven't had a real primary in a very long time. In a very long time, they haven't. But give me a second. Yeah, so there was a class action lawsuit that was filed in 2016, and it was filed by Bernie supporters, and it was against the Democrat National Committee, and the chairman at that time, her name was Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and the plaintiffs, they basically said that, you know, during the 2016 Democrat presidential primaries, the DNC improperly favored Hillary Clinton over Sanders, violating the DNC's charter, which calls for neutrality within the nomination process. Those people actually lost that case. And the DNC, they had the ability to just choose their primary. That's why last year instead Instead of Kamala being placed in the role that she was placed, they should have had some form of emergency, emergency primary. They should have done that. But they didn't do it because they don't have to, and they can just place people into positions. But we got to talk about the actual elephant in the room when it comes to the Democrat Party. You have a lot of black liberals out there, man. They are furious with Bernie Sanders right now because he had the nerve to actually tell the truth about how toxic and divisive the modern Democrat Party has become. Or honestly, it probably has always been like this. But he said it on Andrew Schultz's podcast, and it lit a firestorm. And it's basically, it led to some outrage, and there's a lot of outrage that came from Roland Martin. Now y'all know who Roland Martin is. He is a overseer, of all things black and Democrat. His job is to make sure that black people stay on the Democrat plantation. That's his job. And Roland Martin, he is upset that Bernie dared to point out what we already know. We know that this party, they've turned everything into race, into gender, into sexual identity issues. It's not about policy. It's not about policy. It's not about solutions. It's not about any of that. It's not even about results. It's solely about performative politics and normalization of cultural chaos. That's it. That is it. You're not going to get any solutions. You're not going to get any real policies. None of that. But here's what makes this so rich. Roland's response to this, it proves Bernie Sanders to be correct, and people, that are a part of that side of the Democrat Party to be correct. He couldn't help but respond, in exactly the way that Bernie Sanders was calling out. And I mean, I don't watch Roland Martin like this. I don't. There was a time that I did, until I realized that this dude isn't about, really talking about the news. He's actually really just a propagandist arm for the Democrat Party. And that was, some time ago. Back when he was on TV One. And I remember when he got his own channel, I watched it for a little bit, and I just realized, like, man, this dude here is a full-fledged, propagandist for the Democrat Party. His job is to solely keep black people, enraged and on the Democrat plantation. That's it. And that's how he gets his bread. That's how he gets his bread. And I mean, I don't know if Roland is self-aware enough to realize that, he walked right into Bernie Sanders or walked in right into what Bernie Sanders was talking about. But we got to check it out. I want you guys to see it for yourself. I do. I want you guys to see it for yourself because we gotta talk about why Bernie Sanders, of all people, decided to pull back the curtain on the Democrat machine. I don't know why he decided to do it, but he's doing it. And of course, you can't do that in the Democrat Party. You got to get on board with everything. There cannot be any critical thinking. There can't be any outside thinking of outside of what the party says that is approved. You can't do it. It's ridiculous, man. But let's get into it. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me if you hadn't done so already. And Eric Smith said that Eric Smith said he met, I'm going to help you out, Eric. Said he met Roland Martin at Howard University and spoke with him. He says he's not very smart. You don't have to be smart. You know what I'm saying? You just have to push the agenda and the talking points of the Democrat Party. You don't have to be smart to rise the ranks of the Democrat Party. I mean, look at Jasmine Crockett. Look at Kamala Harris. I mean, the list goes on of politicians that are not that smart, especially on the Democrat side of things. We could probably say the same thing, for Republicans as well. We could probably say the same thing. But you don't need to be super intelligent, to rise the ranks, the rise within the ranks of the Democrat Party. You don't have to do it. You just got to walk the line, and you got to make sure that you maintain the talking points.
To interrupt you, we have a question we want to ask about what happened to you in 2016 with this Bernie Bros movement, where your followers are seeing they have a racism problem, a misogyny problem. Do you think that's a super PAC thing behind that?
That was the Democratic establishment. That was the.
Wow. Okay.
That was just, they were sitting there. We had a lot of young people. We had people of color, and they create this kind of.
Shout out to True Texan with the $2 super chat. He says Roland Martin is a Dallas liberal, needs to go. He's actually a Houston liberal. Hey, still Texas. He's a Texas liberal. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe he is from Houston, went to and graduated from Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken.
With the help of the corporate media and all that stuff.
It's kind of interesting to that note is during this election, the podcast space, which the Democrats largely avoided, they feel had some influence in the election, and they started to label us the podcast bros and said that we were sexist and we were racist and bigoted. It's almost like it's the exact same strategy to get you out of there.
Yeah, that's what the liberal elite China does. They run away. Look, again.
No, that's all they have, though. That is all they have. If you don't agree with them in lockstep, you are racist, you're misogynist, you're homophobe, you are something along the lines where they can, try to assassinate your character. That's who these people are, man. That's who the Democrat Party is. And that's why we're watching them crumble in real time. And that's why we're watching people day after day do videos, record videos about how they're deciding to leave the Democrat Party, because you can't win with these people. You can agree with 9 things, and if you don't agree with that one thing, you know what I'm saying, out of the 10, you're out of here. And you're going to be ostracized, and you're going to be called all kinds of names and all types of things. They're ready to kick you out the party for any form of disagreement.
I would hope that everybody who's watching the program is that we as a nation have got to end all forms of bigotry, right?
Yes.
That I start off as a basic assumption.
Unless it's to your close friends, right?
Yeah, whether it's racism or sexism, homophobia, or xenophobia, whatever it is. But, liberal Democrats talk about that all the time. And then you get to what we call identity politics.
Yeah.
That you're black, you're wonderful, you're tremendous, you're gay, you're the greatest human being on earth.
Yeah.
And rather than say, what do you stand for?
Exactly.
You're gay, that's fine, who cares?
Yeah.
But what do you stand for?
Yeah.
Is every gay person brilliant and wonderful and great? No, of course not. Everybody's a human being.
Yeah.
So the issue is what you stand for, which gets you back to what we discussed earlier, class politics, in the sense of which side are you on? Are you going to stand with working families? Are you going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage or not? Are you going to fight to guarantee health care to all people or not?
They're always talking about raising this minimum wage. How about pushing people to raise their skill set? How about pushing people to really take, education seriously? We have tons of trade jobs open right now. Why not push people into obtaining these trades and things of that nature that would put themselves in a position where they can be productive citizens of society? Why is it always about a handout with these people? Why is it always about we got to raise the minimum wage? Why is it always that? I don't understand that. I really don't. I don't understand it. Shout out to Keith Eves with the $2 super sticker. Thank you very much for supporting the channel this morning, brother. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. But when you look at this clip and you listen to Bernie Sanders, here's what he's doing. He's really showing himself as a classic economic Marxist. Now, what we know about the Democrat Party, and if you watched the video I put out yesterday, we know that the Democrat Party, they've basically been infiltrated by socialists, by Marxists, by communists. They've been infiltrated, and this goes all the way back to the 60s. They've been playing the long game. Now, they're not as covert with it. They're just wide open, out in your face with it at this point. But Bernie Sanders is showing himself as who he always has been, which is a classic economic Marxist. And that's who he is. He's not even trying to hide it. He is sticking to old school class warfare, rich versus poor, capital versus labor. That's his framework right there. That's his framework. It's not race. It's not gender. It's not pronouns. You know, it's not sexual orientation, just economic struggle. But here's the problem, you know, with the left today. The modern Democrat Party, they've ditched that version of Marxism and replaced it with cultural Marxism. They've taken the old class-based conflict and swapped it out for woke identity politics. That if there is a fatigue that is happening in this country, if there is a fatigue that is happening in this country, that is the true fatigue right there. Woke identity politic fatigue. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I have woke identity politics fatigue. Some people will say it's Democrat fatigue. I guess you could make those two words or two phrases synonymous. But these people get on my nerves, man. They work my nerves with that. I can't stand it. Now it's not about how much you earn, but it's about what you look like. It's about what box you check. It's about who you sleep with, or whether or not you like your genitalia on any given day of the daggone week. And I do give Bernie some credit here because he's calling it out. He's not having it. He's saying this obsession with identity, this idea that you're morally superior just because of your race, gender, or sexuality, I mean, it's hollow. And worse, it's distracting from the real issues, which is, economic power and inequality. So before we get into, Roland Martin's, diatribe on this or soliloquy, whatever you want to call it, he basically, he's going to lose his mind. Before we get into that though, you need to understand that, Bernie, he is, but he isn't breaking with the left. He really is exposing how far that they've drifted from their original argument. And that's exactly, why someone like Roland Martin is so triggered and so many others out there are so triggered. People got to understand that if you push people away from the race-based conversation, it's going to mess a lot of people money up. It's going to mess a lot of people's money up. This race hustle industry, I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It is. And you have a lot of people, and most of the people that do that, and to be honest with you, you see it on both sides. Because, there was a time, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when, daytime TV actually used to have some real stuff on, like Phil Donahue and who else? It was Phil Donahue. You had Phil Donahue was the big one because he would have all kinds of people on. He would have, KKKs on and white supremacists on, and he would have people from, from NOI. He would have, Minister Farrakhan on there, and he's had so many people on his show, and they would discuss these types of issues. We don't have that. We don't get that type of TV anymore. Shout out to Ed Mister with the $2 super chat. Thank you very much. We don't get that kind of TV anymore. I actually miss that type of TV where, I know they were crazy and they were radical, but hey, they get to get on and tell you how they feel. I never really had a problem with people that are racist. I don't like covert people. Be overt about it. You don't like me for whatever reason? Let me know. Let me know. Be overt about it. It's okay. And the feeling, it may be mutual, but it's okay. You don't have to be covert about it. Be overt. Be out in the open with it, with your hatred. And we don't allow people to do that anymore and to show themselves in that manner anymore. We don't give people a platform to show people how delusional and crazy they are on both sides, on both ends of the spectrum. Yes, Brett Montgomery. Yeah. Geraldo Rivera. I forgot about him. He did get a chair, and I remember watching that clip too. You don't see that type of TV anymore, because now it's like, how dare you give this person a platform? We used to actually have civil discourse. We could and we could still walk away from that conversation and say, hey, I don't agree with this individual. We got away from that. We've gotten away from that in this country. Everybody is in these siloed echo chambers. Everybody's in these siloed echo chambers. Sally Jesse Raphael. Yeah, there was a day, when there was a day and time, when you would see these types of conversations, they would play itself out. Every now and again, you'd get people from both sides and they would debate and they would have conversation. And even then it would be respectful. And they still may not come to some form of agreement or compromise, but they could have a conversation. We've gotten away with that. We've definitely gotten away from that, man. It's crazy.
To demand that the wealthiest people start paying their fair share of taxes or not. Those are the issues. And no one cares what color you are, what your gender is, et cetera, et cetera.
I'm really tired of the wealthiest people paying their fair share. I'm really, really tired of that. I'm also really tired of that. I'm really tired of hearing that from Bernie. I'm tired of hearing that from AOC and people of that ilk. I'm really, really tired of hearing, oh, we got to get the wealthiest people to pay their fair share of taxes. What does that mean? They never actually really explain what the fair share means. Because what we do know is that if you are in, those that would be considered in poverty, they don't pay taxes at all. Even when they do pay the taxes, they get majority of that money back when they do their returns, if not all of it. It says here, in the United States, the majority of federal income taxes are paid by high income earners, particularly the top 10%. When they say we need the rich, who do they consider as rich? 18% of the country's population makes over $100,000 a year. And I'm sure we got some people, in this chat here that make, 100 plus. I'm sure you're paying an arm and a leg in taxes. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're paying a lot of money in taxes. The majority of federal income tax is paid by high income earners, particularly the top 10%. And really and truly, think about this. The bottom 50% of wage earners in this country, the bottom 50% of wage earners in this country, they pay 2.23% of the taxes. So the top 25% wage earners in the country pays 90% of the federal tax. Think about that. So I'm really, really tired of hearing, and the thing is, what's considered rich in America? Just living in America, in comparison to the world, you are rich. Just living in America, in comparison to the world, you are rich. And Mike C, you're absolutely right. $100,000 a year salary, it is not what it used to be. It isn't. I do agree with you there. But still, the average wage in America right now, I think it's $63,000, if I'm not mistaken. $63,000 a year is the average wage, in America right now. I believe I'm right. But Mike C, you're absolutely right. I do agree with you. I couldn't wait until I got to a point to where, I made $100,000 a year. And then I saw how much money they were taking from me in taxes. And I was like, golly, sheesh, what the heck is going on? So I understand it. But when you have someone like a Bernie Sanders and AOC say, "Oh, we need the wealthy," what is considered rich in America when 18% of the country's population makes 100 grand? And those are the people, paying majority of the taxes. K-Row 3, I would agree to an extent that we need a flat tax, but the problem with the flat tax is that would actually hurt lower income people. It would hurt. A flat tax would hurt lower income people. I'd be okay with a flat tax. I'd be okay with a flat tax. I'd be okay with it. But I just want to know what's considered rich. The average wage in America is $66,000. So if you make 100, you're almost 2 times what the average earning wage in America is. The average median wage in America on a weekly is $1,100, almost $1,200. And that basically kind of translates, at this point, I think they say to about $60,000, $62,000 or so. You know what I'm saying? What's considered rich? These are the people paying majority of the taxes. So I don't get it. So if you work your tail off, you gain the proper skill set, you work your tail off to put yourself in a position where you can take care of your family, they want to take more from you. You're already paying majority of the taxes anyway, but they want to take more from you. This is crazy. But let's get into Roland Martin real quick. We're going to get him. And the thing is that I don't agree with Bernie Sanders, when it comes to his socialist ideology. I don't. Because the idea, it doesn't make sense. When you give somebody something, it doesn't make them want to do more. It actually makes them want to do less. We got a chance to see it. But let me be clear. The way the Democrat Party smeared Bernie and his supporters, they called them racist, sexist, bigoted, simply because they refused to fall in line with the party machine. In my opinion, that's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And it's disgusting. And that's exactly why, Bernie's movement resonated with so many people because, unlike the establishment, he didn't get into the whole, identity politics game. He didn't get into that. He didn't lean into the race hustling tactics, that we see on the left so many daggone times that I think a lot of people are tired of. I don't want to hear about you being black or a woman or Hispanic, or white or gay. I don't want to hear about that. If you're running for office, I want to hear your policies and I want you to be able to explain them and allow me to make a decision based off of what you think you want to implement. Now, when it comes to Bernie's message, it's always been class focused. It's about economic inequality, not racial division. And that right there is the difference between class versus identity. And that's what separates Bernie from the establishment wing of the Democrat Party. Let's talk numbers for a quick second. In 2020, Bernie Sanders, he won more votes from voters under 45. You had a lot of young people that was rocking with him in that when he was running the last time, before he got smacked, basically told to sit down somewhere, in 2020. He got more voters, from the under 45 folks than Biden did. And all the other candidates combined in those early primaries. It's not an accident. Young voters were drawn to his message because, it was straightforward. It was, I guess, somewhat policy driven, but it wasn't drenched in a lot of virtue signaling. But here's the problem. Bernie is also part of the Democratic Party mess. He's part of the reason. Because, when they rigged the game against him, not once, but twice, he rolled over. Now, we talked about this earlier. His constituents sued, but he didn't. He just got in line. In 2016, the DNC literally coordinated with the Clinton campaign to shut him out. And in 2020, the entire field consolidated overnight before Super Tuesday to stop him. That was a obvious establishment play. And he chose to say nothing. He chose his bread. He chose his bread and what little sway he has in the party. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go against them, they probably was going to try to find a way to primary him and get him up out of here. There's no real democracy in the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party process does not have democracy in it. They don't care about their constituents and they don't care about what they think. But Bernie Sanders, he also never held them accountable. Now, some of the people that followed him tried to, but he's never done it. And hey, that's not leadership. That's political surrender. So while I disagree with Bernie on the core of his politics, I do respect the fact that he does attempt to avoid identity cultism, because that is what you see in the Democrat Party. But let's not ignore, his refusal to confront the DNC's corruption, and how that, has basically enabled or helped to enable the very dysfunction that he once campaigned against. The very dysfunction that you can see it in his face, in this clip right here. You can see it in his face, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. My wife would even agree with you, but you want to be a part of that party, you got to play the game. Simple as that.
Okay, allow me to unpack what you just heard. If there's been a blind spot of Senator Bernie Sanders for a very long time, it's on this issue of race. Were there African Americans supporting Senator Bernie Sanders? Yes. Ben Jealous, Cornel West, and others. But the reality is, Bernie Sanders had a black problem. He did. Bernie Sanders could not get the black vote. Bernie Sanders right now still complains about what happened in 2016 and 2020, and he's convinced that he was going to get the nomination. And then there are people who are far left progressives who believe that. I don't. Because the reality is here, America is not a far left progressive nation. It is not. We can sit here and play games all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, it's not. You're was going to get the nomination. And then there are people who are far left progressives who believe that. I don't. Because the reality is here, America is not a far left progressive nation.
It's not. They would like it to be, but it's not. And we don't want to be a far left progressive nation. Think about what being far left and super progressive. Think about what that would mean for our nation. No, thank you. No, thank you. I will pass.
It is not. We can sit here and play games all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, it's not. You're a Democrat. You're likely going to have to be a centrist or close to a centrist, because part of the problem with the Democratic Party is the tent is so big. And frankly, it's not as narrow as the Republican Party. Okay? The other thing is this here. Bernie Sanders really has a problem with what he keeps calling identity politics. Bernie Sanders sounds like a right-winger when he does. See, he keeps saying the whole deal, oh, you're black, oh, you're gay, you're great, you're amazing. Well, first of all, Bernie, there was a reason that was a song called Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. There's a reason Roberta Flack and Donna Hathaway had their song as well. There's a reason Aretha Franklin remade the song Respect after Otis Redding did it, and it actually became a women's anthem. Bernie Sanders doesn't want to deal with the reality that, yes, in this country, women, especially black women, have been grotesquely marginalized. And we know what happens to African Americans. Now I know, so Bernie Sanders.
What's going on, Crystal Beyond Labels? Hey, I want you to pull up today. I want to hear what you have to say about this particular subject here. When I drop the link, I need to see you in the. I need to see you down here. I need to hear from you. What's up, Jeff? How you doing, man? Now, this dude had the nerve. He could come out his mouth, and I want to rewind this just a quick second here. Seriously.
That yes, in this country, women, especially black women, have been grotesquely marginalized.
Okay, that right there. How do we move forward? When are they going to move forward? You've had two women in the Democrat Party who won the primary. We'll say Kamala Harris won the primary, at least they gave it to her, and represented the party as their presidential candidate. That's happened. There are women all over the place. They're not doing well. They're not running their respective cities or counties properly, but they are in positions of power right now. And that has been the case for the better part of probably, I don't know, maybe 4 to 8 years. You look at Letitia James, New York State AG. You look at Fannie Willis down there in what is that? Fulton County. You look at what's the lady name? I can't think of the lady's the mayor down there in New Orleans. I think her name is Keisha something. But you also right now in Georgia, you got Keisha Lance Bottoms, who is, planning to run for governor of Georgia. Hopefully she doesn't win. That would be a huge L for the state of Georgia if she was to win. I mean, you got Tiffany Henyard, out there in Illinois, who was the mayor. She didn't do well. I mean, there's countless examples. Oh, I forgot. Oh, out in LA, Karen Bass, out in LA. Is that her name? I believe it's Mayor Bass, out there in LA. She hasn't done a good job. I mean, there are countless. I mean, we could probably keep going, but somebody said it in the chat, stuck in the past. Yeah, stuck in the past. Stuck in the past. You got Jasmine Crockett out here on every platform known to man right now, skewing all kinds of foolishness, a bunch of lies. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Mayor Bowser down in D.C. I forgot about the mayor of D.C. I mean, they're all over the place. Like, what are we talking about right now in 2025? Come on, man.
We know what happens to African Americans. Now I know some Bernie Sanders supporters right now say, "Well, Roland, wait a minute. He was riding hard with Reverend Jackson. He was on the campaign or whatever." Yes, that's absolutely true. But it's not like Vermont does not have issues with mass incarceration. It's not like Vermont doesn't have issues when it comes to race. See, I just want people to understand.
Vermont has issues with race. I don't even know if there's that many black people that live in Vermont for them to have race issues. But when you think about the Democrat Party, there are women, there are black women, and there are black people in positions of power all up and down and through that daggone party. All over the place. They're there. Like, how long are you going to live on that? I mean, black people are 13% of the population in this country. You can't expect 50%, you know what I'm saying, of black people to be in leadership. It just doesn't make sense. The math don't math. That don't make sense. But it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't matter in the eyes of a Roland Martin and so many others out there, it doesn't matter how much is obtained, how much is achieved. It will never be enough. It'll never be enough.
And really what we're dealing with here. And I remember when this was a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I can't remember. Bernie had done an interview with GQ and was railing against these identity politics. And I remember sending a text message to the guy who ran his campaign, Jeff Weaver, who was with Our Revolution. I said, Jeff, I'm gonna tell you right now, Bernie Sanders keeps doing this, I'm gonna light his ass up. So Jeff's like, hey, can I set up a meeting between you and the senator? Yes, you can. So I went to Capitol Hill and I met with him. And I told Senator Bernie Sanders to his face, I said, you keep railing against identity politics, and what you don't understand is you're speaking negatively about black people. See, Bernie's whole view is this thing is about class. Nah, bro.
Shout out to my guy Jeff with the $11 super chat. He says, blue states, cities run on a platform of oppression win, nothing changes, gets worse, blame Republicans, win again. It's a vicious cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're absolutely right. They don't actually have any real tangible policies that make sense for the people. They don't. They don't.
It's about class. You could be black and upper class, middle class, lower class. Your ass still black.
I'm tired of that too, man. I'm tired of that too. So if you're black upper class, black middle class, black lower class, don't matter, you still black. Meaning, if you're black in America, you're gonna have issues no matter what. I reject it. I reject this. I reject the sentiment. That's why I can't be around people like this. That's why, none of my friends talk like this. And if they do talk like this, I'll check it. And if they keep going, I can't hang around this. I can't hang around this victimhood. You know what I'm saying? I am oppressed in perpetuity mindset. I just can't. I can't. I know too many black people that are doing extremely well for themselves and just keeping it a buck. And Eric, you live in this area. You live out here where I live at. A lot of wealthy black people don't even live around, they don't live around anybody but black people. Have y'all been to PG County? PG County is the wealthiest county in the country. They have the wealthiest black people in the nation. And they all live amongst each other. Who's discriminating against these super rich people that are living in $700-800 million houses out in PG County? Super wealthy out there. Same thing in Atlanta. Same thing in Atlanta. My parents, and God bless them, I got a chance to watch two people who have been married for a very long time. I got a chance to watch two people, black people. These are my parents. Start from the bottom. And a lot of it, they will tell you the choices that were made early on in life, like so many others out there, so many of us out there, we tend to make some poor choices and decisions. Maybe we'll marry the wrong person. Maybe we'll have kids a little earlier than maybe what we should. But even with that, I got a chance to watch two people, my parents, black people. We started from the bottom. There were times when, we had to heat water, you know what I'm saying? We had to, turn the stove on and let the stove handle down so we could heat the house or try to stay warm a little bit. That kerosene heater, you know what I'm saying? When you walk out the house and you're going to school smelling like gas. I know you guys know about that kerosene heater, or you got to boil some water. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have hot water. We didn't have hot water in the house at one point, and we had to boil some daggone water to take a hot bath. You know what I'm saying? And your siblings, hey, you got to get in there and you got to wash up real fast so your sibling can get in there behind you, because I ain't about to boil this water again. You know what I'm saying? But I watched two people start from the bottom, get together, have a plan, work their tails off. I've seen it with my own eyes. Work their tails off and build something. And build something together. And where they live at today, oh my goodness, night and day in comparison to where they started, in the early 80s. I'm just saying. And you'll see a lot of it in Atlanta. Life is about choices, man. Seriously. Life is about choices. Seriously. You never hear from these Democrats the importance of finding a good mate and building with that individual and how important that actually is. The wealthiest people in America today are married people. That is a fact. When you look at the totality of people, the wealthiest people in the country are people that found a good mate, found a good husband, found a good wife, and they got together and built together. The average millionaire in America is a man between 55 and about 58 years old who has been married well over 20 years. They've raised their kids. Their kids are productive citizens. And when I say productive, I mean their children aren't real still living in the house in their 30s. They've gone on and they've built their own families and they're taking care of themselves. That's the average millionaire in America. It's not some trust fund, baby. It's not some, oh, my parents gave me something. It's not that. It's somebody, they've been married for 20 plus years to this woman. They are, and it's typically, it is a man, but they've been married and they've done things the right way. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to check out the book. There's a book out there called The Millionaire Next Door. Phenomenal book. Everybody thinks, talks about these millionaires and things of that nature, but most people don't know who they are. That's why when you hear a lot of women out here, on these different shows and podcasts talking about they want a man that make 100,000 or 150,000, they don't know what those dudes look like. They don't even know they don't know what those guys look like, because typically a man that makes that kind of bread, he don't got designer on. He probably not driving a Mercedes. He's not doing those things. More times than not, especially if you read The Millionaire Next Door, typically they're going to have a car that's about 10 years old. They're stacking, they're investing. They're probably going to own a small business of some sort, maybe. Or maybe they do work a job, but they live well below their means. There's a blueprint to this. There's a blueprint to this. And the thing is, there are a lot of Black people out there living very well. But again, I will say, life is about choices. It's about choices. And you never hear a discussion from people like Roland Martin about how people can actually improve their lives, especially when it comes to Black people in America. It's somebody else's fault. It's always oppression. It's always victimhood. It drives me crazy, man. How long are people going to continue to listen to this and fall for it and believe that what this dude's talking about is real?
This is Bernie's problem. And see, Bernie Sanders doesn't want to admit that, yes, Bernie bros were sexist. Some were sexist, some were racist. There's a reason why a number of former Bernie bros supporting Trump. Because what Senator Bernie Sanders represents, and I'm telling y'all, I know this, see, people need to understand why there's a symbiotic relationship. Because Senator Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, in many ways, are the same. Tear the system down. So the people that back them are like, yo, tear this shit down. I don't give a damn. Tear it down. It's very similar language. So they identify with one another. And so the Bernie people, they're mad at Congressman Jim Clyburn. First of all, Congressman Jim Clyburn endorsed then Vice President Biden. He couldn't cast every ballot. Congressman Jim Clyburn represents one congressional district in South Carolina. He don't control the whole state. Do people respect him? Yes. Do they value his perspective? Yes. But people made individual decisions. And see, this is what Bernie Sanders and all of these other white progressives don't understand. Black people are some of the smartest political minds you will find. So let me show y'all what.
We're going to stop it right there. We're going to stop it right there. Oh my gosh. What's up, Cassie J? How you doing, man? Appreciate you pulling up. Hey, Mike C. Says, thanks for torturing us by making us watch Roland Martin. Just kidding. Now I don't have to watch his foolishness by myself later. Yeah, I don't normally watch him, but this particular subject, because it's Bernie Sanders, and the past couple of days we've just been talking about the fracture within the Democrat Party. I thought it made sense to have this conversation here. But you know what? Let me play this one more time.
Sanders and all of these other white progressives don't understand. Black people are some of the smartest political minds you will find. So let me show y'all.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Aaron, when I open it up, I definitely want to have you pull up. And Crystal, I want you to pull up as well. We'll do a little mini panel session if we can get the three of y'all to pull up at the same, or the two of y'all to pull up at the same time. Goodness gracious. But I do have to, I got to respectfully disagree, and maybe disrespectfully disagree with Roland Martin. Seriously. Yes, I will say this, and I've been saying this for a little bit. I talked about it last year. You do have more Black Americans that are becoming more politically astute. That is true. There are more Black Americans that are becoming more politically astute. But let's not pretend that the Democrat grip on the Black vote isn't still built on shallow slogans and emotional manipulation. Let's not pretend. I mean, they just rolled out, what was that, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Summer Lee, Ayanna Pressley, with this reparation talk that they have zero interest in actually doing. Come on now. For over 60 years, Black Americans have overwhelmingly supported the Democratic Party, often at 85 to 95% in presidential elections. And it's even higher than that, in mayoral elections and things of that nature. It's even higher. And if you ask the average voter, why, if you ask the average voter, the average Black American, why they continue to support the Democrat Party in lockstep the way they do, more times than not, you're going to get it's because the Republicans are racist. That's it. You're going to get because the Republicans are racist. And in my opinion, that's not political insight. That's what you call programming. I've talked to people and they've told me flat out, hey, I was born a Democrat. I'm going to die a Democrat. I've talked to some older people that have told me that to my face, older Black people that have told me that to my face. I asked them about policies. I asked them about different positions, different agendas. They don't know any of that stuff. Now, I will say, yes, there are more Black people in America that are becoming more politically astute. They are starting to do more research, starting to do more reading. The thing is that those people are the people that are moving away from the Democrat Party. Now, I'm not saying that they're running to the Republican Party. More times than not, they're going to run and be independent. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Go be an independent. I'm 100% okay with it. The problem, though, with that is that in certain states, you can't vote in primaries if you're an independent. I know here in Maryland, you got to make a choice. You're either going to be a Democrat or you're going to be a Republican. If not, you got to sit out the primaries. So you won't have a say until the actual general election. You won't have a say. So in a city like Baltimore, when a mayoral race comes about, you only got to win the primary. If you win the primary, you won the race. Same thing happened out in Chicago. Brandon Johnson only had to win the primary. That was it. There was no Republican primary, and there were no Republican candidates out there that decided to run against those people. So it was really 12 or 13 Democrats that decided to run for mayor out in Chicago. Shout out to Mike Steve with the $5 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you pulling up. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Thank you very much. But again, I say, when you have Black people out there that tell you the only reason why they support the Democrat Party the way they do, it's not about, oh, I love this policy. The only reason why is that the racist. That's the only reason why. Again, I'll say that's not political insight. That's not political insight. And shout out to Hobo Rob Prospecting with the member chat. Smash that like button. Y'all make sure y'all do that for me, man. Smash that like button for me. But again, I got to say, man, that's not insight. That's not political insight. That right there is programming. That right there is indoctrination. Now, I am glad to see that more and more voters, or Black voters, that is, are starting to wake up. And voters in general are starting to wake up. Even young people are getting in there. They said that there are more people, more young people between the ages of 18 and 21 that are going conservative than almost any time in the history, you know what I'm saying, of the United States. Because people are starting to wake up and ask better questions. They're starting to push back. They're starting to do some research. And the reality of it is, once you start to do your own due diligence, it's hard to just continue to support the Democrat Party, you know, in lockstep like that. It's really difficult to do. So in my opinion, I don't think the Democrat Party has any interest in Black people doing their own due diligence, doing any research, doing any reading. They want you to listen to them. They want you to listen to people like Roland Martin. They want you to listen to people like Angela Rye and the Breakfast Club, and get your information, and CNN, and get your information from there, which is basically whatever we want you to know. And then that's it. Don't go do any additional, you know, research. Don't go look at any alternative media or anything along those lines. No, you got to stay right over here in this echo chamber and you listen to us, because we are the ones that are telling you the truth, when in all actuality, they are the ones that are really lying to you, and they're really just pushing propaganda on you. Yes, you do have a fair amount of Black voters that are starting to wake up and ask better questions and push back. But we got to be honest, man. There are entirely too many people mentally locked on the Democratic plantation. These are the same folks who told you that Joe Biden better pick a Black woman. And he ended up choosing Kamala Harris as VP solely because she was Black. Not because she was competent, not because she was qualified, but because she checks a box. She's a woman, she's Black. That was it. And y'all know how I feel, you know, about Kamala Harris. I call her the faux Black woman. Faux Black woman. Because I don't believe that she's Black. But that's all it took. That's all it took. You don't have to come with any policies. That's why Hillary Clinton, when she was running, she talking about she had the hot sauce in her purse. You just got to pander. Now, in my opinion, when you go about things that way, in my opinion, that's not empowerment. That's identity politics. That's an identity addiction. And that right there is the deeper issue. The fracture inside the Democrat Party, you know, right now is about direction. You got voices like Bernie Sanders trying to steer the party back to more class-based economic issues and things of that nature. But then you've got the obsessed identity politic gatekeepers like your Roland Martins, like your Angela Rye's, and so many others out there. There's a long list of them, because to be honest with you, there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money to be made if you're willing to do that. And those people, they throw around words like racist and sexist. The moment that you challenge any of their narratives, as soon as you challenge a narrative, they're on you. They're on your head. Shout out to Mythology Nor. He says, with the $10 super chat. Thank you very much, brother. He says, I'm assuming that's you need a Y on there. They always be. Oh, man. The always be Black rhetoric is how Black Americans lock into mental chains. It is how they govern us with self-sabotaging ideologies, as in bowling, accepting the image bumpers that keep us failing. Appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But when you have people like Roland Martin, you know, who have come out, you know, and accused Bernie supporters, you know, which are mostly, you know, progressive white liberals, of being bigots. Think about that right there. The Democrat base is eating itself alive over which flavor of identity politics they're allowed to embrace. And look at where it's gotten them. In 2024, Democrats underperform among Black men, with support dropping nearly 10 points compared to 2020. That's not a fluke. That in itself, in my opinion, it's backlash. That's backlash. Now, I probably shouldn't even be giving them this game, because this is free game right here. But if they ever want to win, again in the future. They probably should think about ditching the tribal identity politics and start focusing on universal policies that actually lift the people up, that the people actually care about. And when I say the people, I'm talking about everybody. We're all concerned and worried about economic opportunity, educational freedom. We want safe neighborhoods. We want lower taxes. We want real accountability. Black voters do not need, nor do we want any more symbolic first. We don't. We need first-class results. Let's stop selling skin color and start delivering substance, real policies that make sense. But Democrats don't seem to get that. And I'm 100% okay with it. I'm 100% okay with it. We're literally watching them eat their own. We're literally watching their base walk away. We talked about the young lady out in Texas yesterday, Ava Renee Moore, who lost her life to an illegal immigrant. We talked about Larisha Thompson. Today is Thursday, Wednesday. We talked about her on Tuesday. Young lady had her life taken by illegal immigrants. We want safe neighborhoods, man. We want safe neighborhoods. We want everything that everybody else wants in this nation. Now, I say this all the time. Everybody is not supposed to win. Everybody is not supposed to win. Everybody is not supposed to win. Everybody is not going to win. Everybody can't be rich. And it's not because you actually can't. The reality of it is some people don't want to be. Some people don't want it. Some people are okay with the victimhood mindset and stand exactly where they are. Some people don't want to work their way. They don't want to put the work in to be a success. You can't make people be something that they don't want to be. You just can't. And that's why I say all the time, everybody's not going to win. Everybody is not supposed to win. The word says the poor will always be among us. Not because they have to be poor, but because they choose to be poor. Every day that we wake up, every day that the good Lord gives us on this earth, we get a chance and we get a choice. You get to make your own choices. You don't get to choose your outcome. You don't get to choose your consequences either. But why is it that you never hear the Democrat Party actually tell not just their constituents, but we'll just talk about Black people who support them, in lockstep, up until this previous election, almost at clips of, 85 to 95%. Why won't they tell them the truth? Why won't they tell them, like, you can't keep having kids out of wedlock and think you're going to be a success? You can't keep, acting like you're going to do this by yourself, whether you're a man or you're a woman, and think you're going to be a success. You can't not raise your children. You can't forsake the nuclear family and think that you're going to be a success. It's very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. I'm going to open it up. Hopefully I can get Crystal and Aaron both to pull up, and we'll pull them both up at the same time. Give me 1 second here. There's some things that I got to do on my end because I'm not 100% prepared. Sorry about that, guys. But give me 1 second. I'm going to drop the link in the chat here. But, everybody's got a lot of excuses, as to why, folks can't do this, can't do that. But I reject it, man. I disagree with it. All right. So I just pinned the link. It's in the chat there. It is pinned to the top. So go ahead and pull up when you are ready. But the more and more people start to, do their own research and do their own due diligence, the more and more they remove themselves from the Democrat Party. Seriously. All right. We're going to pull Billy Jack up. We're not going to keep him on long, and then we're going to get Crystal up here. Hopefully, we'll get Aaron to pull up here in a second. I want both of them to be on at the same time. What's going on, Billy Jack? How you doing this morning, brother?
Doing good. I hope you are too. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I'm doing very well this morning. As always, blessed, highly favored. But, every day, every day you get a chance to open those eyes up, and put those feet on the ground. Hey, it's a great day. Uh-oh, Billy Jack, did you freeze?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep,
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
Okay.
What do you have for us?
One thought about Roland.
Uh-oh.
Roland Martin. Yeah, one thought about him. I wonder how far back in his family tree he has actually researched, because I found that the name Martin is from European origin.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, he's
it's
Haitian.
also a
He's
variation
of Haitian descent.
Yeah, that's a variation of the Mars, the Roman god of war. But anyway, apparently his roots at some point come from the European community and possibly Italian. At any rate, the problem we have, as I'm seeing in this country now, we have a bit of an identity crisis. Obviously, 80% of the people probably subscribe to American values. But the problem is that the radical 10 to 20% created by the education system is a cult. They're radical. They're not rational. And you can never expect that. And it's highway. That's their philosophy. And they would like nothing better than massive civil disorder, because that plays into their agenda, which is more power by the government and making people dependent on government. So we have a real problem with, with that kind of thinking, because they won't compromise. There are hundreds of examples of that. But the question is, what do we do about this? Because this is a big problem. When you've got people that are willing to go out in the streets and create civil disorder and attack government officials, etc., and say it's okay because the end justifies the means, we got a big problem, because someday we're going to have to deal with that. Because
I agree with you 100%.
They're not going to quit. There's no back down in them. They're brainwashed. They're just like the Moonies used to be back in the 70s. You remember Sun Young Moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mooney movement. Okay. They were always nice and smiling to your face until you said something bad about the Reverend. And when you said something bad about Reverend Moon, their demeanor would change to kind of demonic. They'd get a crazy look on their face and almost become violent and want to attack you. And that's what we're dealing with the cancel culture, with the radical left right now. They're that crazy. You say what they want to hear, you're okay. You disagree with them, they cancel you, or worse. So we have a problem. And I don't know what the answer is, because it's no matter what happens. Okay, so we have a civil war, which is what they want.
Yeah.
No matter who wins, we lose.
Absolutely. We all lose. It wouldn't be good.
All these people, 250 to 300 million people to administrate, and you can't do that on a moderate basis. It takes radical action. A lot of power concentrated, in 2 or 3 places. So the way I see it, the only salvation for the country is possibly, what we need is to go back to the days of the Wild West, where you had a lot of small levels of government, with authority, but no really big one that covered the whole country.
Mm.
And, in that case, the sheriff was pretty much the law in town, sheriff and the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and if you have no government entity larger than a state, we can survive. But the way we're going, this sounds radical, but these liberals don't compromise. We got to
No,
do
they don't.
something with them. We have to do something with them. I'm looking at the states of California, Washington, and Oregon to be excommunicated from the Union and take all these crazy liberals from Illinois and Colorado and New York and banish them to those 3 excommunicated states. And they can have all the liberalism they want. But it sounds a little radical, but that might save the entire country, because you can do that with 2/3 of the vote. You can kick a state out of the Union with an amendment. Yes. And it takes 2/3 of the vote to do it. And that sounds radical.
That is very radical, Billy Jack. That is very radical.
But who
So
has
what
no
you're so let me make sure I got this clear. So what you're suggesting is we move all the liberals to the far left coast, California, Oregon, and Washington, and say, hey, that's all y'all over there. Y'all got it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not saying we move them. I'm saying we give them the option.
Oh, you have the ability. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, the means, paid for by the government, of course, and we'll transport you. But kick them out of the Union. Kick those 3 states out. And there's enough room, if they really hate our values that much, the religious and family values, if they dislike it that much, then they should have the option to go to their own country, basically. I don't know what else to do. Do you have a better solution?
I really don't. I need to sit down and think about, because I think about us from a national security standpoint of doing something along those lines, because these are also the same people that would probably sell us out to another, to another country, China or something along those lines, because they don't care about us like that. So that I don't know. I don't know, but I gotta think about what you just said. I understand this sentiment. I do. It's extremely radical. It is. But the thing is that now once they go there, are they stuck there for life? They can never come to this side of America?
It's optional. It's optional. Hell,
it's optional. Okay.
Yeah, they can come back, but they're going to have to face the fact that they're in the minority and they're not going to win an election. They're not going to impose any of those goofy values on us. The problem with when you have an enemy, you have to get inside their mind. You have to recognize who are they, what is their agenda, what's their modus operandi, or whatever you call it, what's their MO, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you have to take steps to stop it. And we know that their object is to create a communist state. We know that, one with no visible, where everyone is equal, everybody gets absolutely the same slice of the pie, regardless of their efforts, and work. They just like the EU. The EU is a mess now.
It is because of that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't study them. I do over RT. I find out everything that's going on in the EU and NATO, and it's a mess. And they've got a problem with open borders. Some of them are closing them now because they have gang activity. And in Scandinavia, I think it's Denmark, some of the gangs actually use hand grenades in their terrorist attacks, and robbing people. Yeah,
oh,
they've
wow.
gotten crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it has gotten crazy over there.
Yeah, is that Sweden or Denmark? I can't remember which. Might be Sweden. But we don't.
Well, I think they're both Scandinavian nations.
But anyway, once you identify who the enemy is and what their MO is, you have to stop them. And we know now that their MO is to destroy U.S. values and government as we know it now. They want to replace it with their, utopian idea of the perfect society and all of that.
And we know that's not good for any of us.
That's not going to stop because, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, all those high dollar schools have created this monster over the last 50 years. And yet that's why we've got older judges now that are working against Trump, because that's how long the educational system has pushed this. They've created
Yeah.
this monster, and now we got to deal with it. The normal people. And of course, the problem is too, a lot of Americans aren't advised totally, politically. In other words, they don't have the knowledge to see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
They know
That is a major issue that we have in this country.
Yeah, they know there's something wrong, but they, they don't know, what to do about it. But this next election is pivotal. 2026. If the Republicans lose control, if they don't gain more control, then we got a big problem, because the Democrats can gain power in 2028 and roll back every reform Trump made.
Yeah.
And they will.
That would be a problem, and I do agree with you.
In other words,
all right, Billy Jack. Well, I appreciate you. I do appreciate you pulling up. I got a couple other people I want to get in, but I do appreciate you pulling up as always. Next time we do this, definitely feel free if you feel like you want to. Don't hesitate to pull up, man. I definitely enjoy having you on.
Thank you.
Thanks, Billy Jack. Take care, man. All right. Shout out to Eric with the $5 super chat. It says, perhaps we need to balkanize, or give as much power back to the states as possible. You get no argument from me, on that. And then people can just kind of make a decision on what state they want to live in based on the leadership and the policies and agenda that they would like to push, per state. You get no argument from me on that one, Eric. All right, let me bring up Crystal. I'm also going to bring up Aaron as well. That way we'll have both of them at the same time. What's up, Crystal? How you doing this morning, sister?
I'm doing well, Watts. How are you?
Good. What's going on, brother Aaron? How you doing this morning, brother? Outstanding.
What's up, Crystal?
Hey, how are you, Aaron?
How you doing, dear? How are you?
I'm good.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
All right. I like
All
that.
Right. Well, Crystal, I'm going to give you the first word. I did ask you to pull up, but wherever you want to go, with the topic, obviously, Roland Martin, I don't watch his show like that, but I just felt like this particular subject, it was definitely worth talking about this morning, but wherever you want to go with it.
Roland Martin is a joke. Let me just start over there. Roland Martin is an entire joke. When I need good comic relief, it's let me go sit down and watch Roland Martin and some of the craziness that he's pushing out. I am so sick of everybody acting like Black people cannot function like normal people. Like, we do not have meritocracy. They act like we do not have meritocracy. Like it because we're Black. It's always because we're Black. Stop. We actually have skill sets. We actually have intelligence. And every time people act like we don't, it irritates me. And the fact that they use these people, as I would say, these Black leaders, to have everyone looking at us like, poor them. Stop doing that. And then you have other Black people. And that's why when you were talking about in certain parts of the country, in blue areas, why it's always struggling, it's because all of these people are in this mindset that they can't get ahead in life. They're stuck. They're listening to these people. They hear it over and over and over and over again. So all they think they can do is a life of crime, is live on welfare, is live the typical stereotypical life, because this is what they keep hearing. And he's absolutely right when he says that we are getting politically smart. Yes, that is everyone who has gotten up from the Democratic Party and said, nah, we're not running with y'all no more because we have common sense. We actually did the research. And that is where we have to live. And we have to kind of try and bring other people in. That is why you do what you do. We do what I do. We all do it. We're like, listen, come on. Y'all got to come on over here because y'all are stuck on. In fact, y'all are stuck on the plantation that those people have you on. It is not the people that you think have you on the plantation. It is not those people that you think have you in this enslaved mentality. It's your own people, that crab in the bucket mentality. That's 100% crab in the bucket mentality. That's how I feel about that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, they make it seem like we don't have the ability to make sound choices and decisions in our lives. And I have an issue with that. I have an issue with that. But Aaron, I know you wanted to pull up, so I'm gonna give you an opportunity to speak your mind. What are your thoughts, brother?
Well, what made me want to pull up was when you put that little chocolate Porky Pig on. That dude, man.
Hey, we can leave it. We can always get come on, man.
Wise. Wise. That dude, let me tell you something. He speak for those older elders in the church, them civil rights fossils. Man, he can't come on the block, Wise. He can't come on the block. Every time he come on the block, he get ran off. Now, the last that election, during that election at the Democratic convention, you know, Roland almost got hurt, man.
Yeah.
He would, you know, Roland is what they call a studio gangster. You know, he be in the studio. Dumbass. Excuse my French. He be doing that, and he called some folks out.
Yeah.
In Chicago, you know, Chicago, them cats is different.
No, they different out there.
He pulled up out there to a church, right? Them dudes pulled up to the church, and they got at him. The only reason why Roland didn't get hurt is because the other brothers hadn't got there yet. And that one brother was by himself. Well, he had a couple of people with him, but them other brothers that wanted him didn't get there yet. They came to the church to put hands on him. And the brother asked him, and that brother's a politician, and he asked him, what was you talking about on your show? Say what you got to say to me. Because he was calling them all kind of punks and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, man, listen, everybody ain't with, you got some people that's with the business for real.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't hide behind politics and these microphones and stuff. So it got real for him. And I didn't want nothing to happen to him because I know he's not that. But Roland, he don't speak for us. We could see through all that with him, the Jasmine Crockett's, and all of that, performative ghetto stuff. We see through all that. You not from that. You can't fool us with that. We know what's authentic. You're not authentic. Roland, we've been on his bumper forever. We've been on him. He knows he can't even. There was an incident in North Carolina. He pulled up and some young teenage kids ran him off the block. Yo, man, pack your stuff up and get out of here, man. Get out of here. We don't want to hear nothing you talking about.
Yeah.
Because all you do is push that Democrat nonsense.
I want to share this with you real quick, and I'm going to let you keep going. But I want to share this right here with you. This is like 100% when I was just like, this dude's a clown. It was this interview right here. This is when I was like, this dude, he is an op. He is 100% against the black community in America. This interview right here.
We have to get out and go do for self in our own communities.
So, so define do for self.
When I say do for self, you shared one of my tweets, my videos, and I was actually a big fan of yours, but you shared one of my tweets when I said black people need to stop begging the government and go and do for self out in our communities. You shared the video and called me an idiot. I didn't see anything idiotic about that statement at all.
So when you say do for self, like what? Explain that.
Okay, for example, here in Albany, Georgia, we complain about our school systems a lot. Many of our young men can't read. They have very horrible literacy rates. We don't have any rehab programs here for juvenile offenders. What I decided to do, I started a program 2 years ago, decided to do for self, and I started taking children into my home. I started taking custody of kids from juvenile court, and I started molding them and training them and teaching them skilled trades, etc. Now I'm 21 years old. I just purchased a school here in Albany, Georgia to combat us being in the government-funded schools that are not teaching our children what they need to learn. So that's what I mean by do for self, simply getting up and going out and do it.
So
I beat the stereotype that I'm young, black in America, and I can't do anything because somebody's holding me down. Absolutely not.
So a question.
Teenagers went and go ahead. Me and some teenagers went and bought a school, and we just bought a school bus simply from going out and doing work. We decided to go fix our own communities. I'm not expecting anything from no politician. I'm not expecting nothing from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or nobody. We're gonna go do it for ourselves, and that's what I believe we need to be doing. I can vote, sure, but nothing's gonna change in our community.
So you went to
That right there is when I said, this dude's an official clown. That right there. And that's when I realized that's when I really, really realized that these people like Roland Martin, and there's a long list of them out there. You know what I'm saying? They do not care for the actual plight of black people in this country, because if they did, they would actually give real advice to black people in America on how to do better and how to be better, you know, in this country. I'm not one to sit back and say that there hadn't been any social ills, you know, in this country. I'm not saying that. America is not perfect. It's never been. And honestly, I don't think it ever will be, because as long as people run it, people are imperfect. So if the people are running the government's going to be imperfect. But when you have people that will tell a young black man that, hey, what you doing isn't good, and it's not, hey, and you call the brother an idiot for making a decision, you know what I'm saying? To say, you know what, I'm gonna go be the change that I want to see in the world, opposed to sit back and waiting, you know what I'm saying, on somebody to come down here. Now, they're in Albany, Georgia. I don't know if y'all know anything about Albany, Georgia, but it goes down in Albany, Georgia. You know what I'm saying? It's a small town, but it is a very dangerous place. It is. And there's some other places like that in Georgia. There's smaller towns like that in Georgia. You go to Rome and you go some other places a little further north. It goes down in these places. So when you see a young man jump out there and say, you know what, I'm gonna do for self, I'm gonna go be that change, and you get an elder say, you're an idiot and you can't do it unless the white man helps you, I got a problem with that. And that's the biggest issue that I have with people like them, because the focus is so much on, you know, either the government or the quote unquote white man. And they've taken the accountability off of, you know, black people in itself to say, you know what, you go be the change, you go do something. You know what I'm saying? And that bothers me. What are your thoughts, Crystal?
I 100% agree with you. That I mean, I always had a problem with Roland Martin, but that specifically irritated me, because that is something that I always say. When I say our neighborhoods are bad, our neighborhoods are struggling, our neighborhood, it's as simple as the neighborhood coming together and say, let's clean it up, instead of just leaving it looking like who knows what, and allowing people to now come and move into houses that look like it's abandoned. Take care of the neighborhood. Take care of your neighborhood. This is what this young man was saying. Like, we need to be accountable for our own things. And when you have these leaders, these leaders that just irritate the living life out of me, confusing people, then it's like the majority of these people fall into line with the absurd behavior. So when you have people like Roland speaking, let's not even talk about it. They even using people like Mr. Jamal Bryant, Dr. Jamal Bryant, having people confused because he's supposed to be a leader of a church, and he got people confused when they put these black women in the front of all of these places, and they're saying we're the most educated, but we're gonna act like we have no kind of common sense. You're just gonna have people, if they don't stop being lazy. Again, like I always tell you guys, find that identity in Christ and stop finding their identity in their blackness. Stop. In fact, blackness and black pride has become their new religion. Forget using common sense. Their new religion is blackness and celebrating their black pride. We are better than everybody else, and not taking accountability and realizing you're racist. This is not what Christ called us to do. He asked us to find our identity in him. We will keep having these problems until people get out of that mindset. They need to remove themselves from that mindset. And I have to touch on when you talked about all the women leaders. You told no lies there. You told no lies there, because the women leaders, they're there and they're running these places, and their places are crap. Like, they're not doing a great job. In fact, to me, I look at them, they have been put at the forefront. And because black women want to be seen, just like that statue, I just want to be seen. I just want people to see me and recognize me. They're allowing themselves to be put in these positions, and then they are basically the puppets. They're basically be played around, and they're pushing these agendas that continue to destroy the black community. And then they want to turn around and say, no, it's Trump, it's the white man, it's all these people, instead of taking accountability. No, y'all are ruining your own communities.
Yeah, I would agree. What are your thoughts, Aaron?
Well, my thought is vast on some of the things she said. Again, that King Randall thing, but I knew he was a clown way before that. Way before that. See, one thing, and this is why I'm going to try to tie all of it in. I think it was Neely Fuller that said, and he just passed away a couple of months ago. I think it was Brother Neely Fuller that said, if you really want to know what a black person thinks, sit him in front of a white person. And when Roland was on TV One, he did an interview with Richard Spencer. You know Richard Spencer.
I remember that. I thought he was a clown. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that, but I remember that. Oh yeah.
So whenever you see you sit these folks in front of a white person and they start holding their head down and can't look the dude in his eyes, the dude asked him, he said, "Do you identify as a black man?" He wouldn't answer the question. He would not answer the question. First of all, I'm a man. I'm a man. I'm a Christian. Are you a Christian? That's not what he asked you. He asked you, was you a black man? And you wouldn't answer the question. So right then I knew you soft, and they sat you in front of the white person and your manhood went away. So right then and there, that's one thing. And then when you see these folks, see, this is what I mean by when I say bootlicker. You talk about Jim Clyburn and all them, that catfish nugget frying Negro. At one time I told myself, if I ever see that man in person, I'm gonna spit in his face. But he's an old man, so I wouldn't do that to him. He's older than me. I'm an old man, but he's way older than me. But those kind of Negroes, man, those are bootlicks. That's what I call boot. Jim Clyburn got the 6th poorest district in the nation, and you've been there for 30-something years, bro.
Yeah, no improvement.
None.
Well, you could throw what's her name? Maxine Waters in that same category.
You mean Maxine Waters? What are y'all? That woman so she can't even talk. When she talk, dust come out of her mouth. That's how old she is. You feel me? So my thing wise is this, right? When you talk about the Roland Martins and all them guys, man, black people, they don't speak for us. Not here in the grassroots. I'm in the grassroots. They don't speak for us. They don't represent. In fact, Roland know he can't come around us. He know that.
Yeah.
You understand? He's scared. Look, when he know one of us is around, he get to running. See, I did a podcast on him, a whole program dedicated to him, and I said in that podcast, when Thanksgiving time, black people love to get together and have dinner. I said, well, the fellas be out in the yard throwing the football and smoking cigars and having a little shot of brandy, rolling in the kitchen with the women, cutting up potatoes, giblets to putting the stuff in the potato salad with his hands on his hips, rolling his eyes. Beep, 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 beep. That's what he doing. Because he can't be out in the yard with the brothers. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is this, and I want to say this to Crystal, it ain't so much of, I can't speak for everybody, it ain't so much of people are worshiping their blackness. It's just that, see, we taking pride and we taking, trying to put empowerment into our blackness, and people take that as, we think we're better. No, it ain't nobody thinking they're better than nobody. We're just trying to up these generations that's coming behind us. We're trying to get so they don't look at white folks as superior. So we pumping the literature. We pumping some of the great scholars that did the work already for us. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, everybody got their own faith and different belief disciplines that they subscribe to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Because I work with you, whether you Christian, Muslim.
Oh, we might have lost him again. Hopefully he pull back up, because I got a question for him. I'm gonna kick him out. Hopefully he'll pull back up. Maybe somebody called. But I got a question for you. And then when he comes back, if he comes back, hopefully he will. I want a question for him. I know, there's been a lot of talk, about this reparations and all this other kind of stuff. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's going to happen. But if we remove that out of the equation, out of the conversation, let's just assume that it's never going to happen. Let's just assume it's never going to happen. All right, there he goes. We're pulling back up.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish, and then I'm gonna answer my question.
Yeah, when I get a call, it knocks me out because I'm on
Yeah,
the
it just
phone. I'm
kicks
not
you
on
out.
the computer, so it knocks me out. And I just have to come back in the studio. But yeah, Crystal, it's not about people trying to say we're better than nobody or we're trying to this black superiority thing. It's not that. It's just that for so long our people been under had this defeatist mindset, and we're trying to get the people out of that. So yes, we're taking pride in our blackness, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and the thing is, I agree with you. I don't think there is anything wrong being I don't know if proud is the right word, because I mean we're not supposed to be prideful, but being okay, with how much melanin you have, liking the fact that you are a black man, black woman. I don't think that makes you anti-white. No different than, if you're just, you're hey, I love my family. I love, I'm white, so forth and so on. It doesn't make you anti-black either. But my question that I have for you is this, and this is for both of you guys. Let's remove the reparation conversation. Let's remove that. I don't think it's going to happen. It's a conversation that's been happening for a long time. And I think it's, honestly, in my opinion, I think it's a debilitating conversation. But my outside, let's remove that out of equation and let's just assume it's never going to happen. In your opinion, Aaron, give me 3-4 things that you think that black people can do. Because we can't control, how about we control what we can control right now? Give me 3 or 4 things that you think that black people should be doing, can do to improve their plight in this country.
Okay, one thing, and y'all not gonna agree with this, but I was raised up under the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I was raised up under them teachings. And I believe in total separation, because we was doing good when the country was segregated, and they told us to get out of here. We ain't got you can't use you for free labor no more. Go on about your business. And in less than a century, they turned around. We had mansions, we had black townships and Wall Streets all over the country. Had our whole businesses and everything. We did that. That was when, even though it was a very dark time, but it was still financially a better time for us, because we had more businesses and things like that, and we relied on each other more. You didn't have all this fighting each other and killing each other and all that stuff like that. So because we learned that from them. So my thing is, that's one thing we could do is I believe in, and we got to get away from these people at least for a couple of 100 years. Get away from them, because we've learned a lot of bad things from them, and the poison has infested our community. Now, I'm not saying that there's no accountability on our part. We got some people that do some foolish things, and let us take care of them. We can take care of them. Now, the other thing is,
now before you finish that, do you think that's feasible in 2025? When Elijah Muhammad, and Malcolm was talking about this, they were talking about this in the 60s, when I think it probably was more feasible to do, due to the fact that it was already a situation that black people were in anyway. And to an extent, we're almost still somewhat in that. For the most part, black people live around black people, Mexicans live around Mexicans, Asians live around Asians, white people live around white people. For the most part, there's a few communities out there. There's a few places in the country where, it's a little more, racially diverse. But if you go down south and you think about 80% of black people live from Maryland to Texas, Maryland to Florida, Florida to Texas, that's where 80% of black people. And when you go in those neighborhoods, and Crystal can attest to this in Atlanta, it's definitely like that still. It's still pretty racially segregated to an extent. But Do you think that's actually feasible in 2025?
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you why. If you look at what's going on lately in the last, I'm gonna say 5 months, 6 months, there's been, and it's amazing to me, there's been this galvanization, not even behind no money or nothing. It started with the election because black men pulled 23% of black men pulled away from the Democratic Party. And you seen what happened. Now they'll tell you it was because of this, because no, that woman lost because of us. That, and then the energy that's decimating around the country. We got people now, all this stuff going on in the political atmosphere. We out here line dancing, doing line dances and enjoying ourselves. And they wondering why, yo, what's wrong with them? What are y'all doing? What y'all thinking? Don't worry about what we thinking about. Leave us alone. We enjoying life. We ain't thinking about no immigrants. Y'all take care of that. We gonna enjoy ourselves. And the other day in Greenville, South Carolina, I think it was last week, that brother 803 Fresh did a show out there. It was 7,000 people out there. Not one fight, not an argument, nothing. People was out there enjoying themselves. The kids, the older people, everybody was out there enjoying themselves. And this is showing you, if we let's step away for a little bit. Step away from all of the millionaire stuff, the Puff Daddy and all this stuff. Step away from that. Let's get back into the culture of depending on each other. There's other things we can do. We can get into the insurance game. That will almost, if we do the insurance thing, I heard Charleston White say this, and I'm not no Charleston White fan because he's what he is. But
he flip-flops. He's a little all over the place, but, yeah, but he can be right every now and again.
He said something that made some sense. The insurance game, if we played that insurance game, we would have reparations damn near overnight. Damn near overnight. If we played that insurance game right. And reason why I know that's true, my uncle put me onto that. This dude got acres of land everywhere just from playing the insurance game. So that would help us with our financial thing and get us back into doing commerce with each other. The other thing is with the reparations thing, I know you wanted to leave that out. We are not sitting around waiting on reparations. The thing is, we not letting them forget y'all owe a debt. We're not waiting for it. I'm not gonna be the one to say we ain't gonna never get it. I don't know that. We may not. We said we at one time we thought we was never gonna get off the plantation. We end up getting off that plantation though. And the way I see it in the long run, maybe sooner than later, they ain't gonna have a choice but to give it to us. The way I see it playing out. But aside from that, nobody's sitting around waiting for it. We have champions out here that's championing for it. We have to do that. But we're not sitting around waiting. In the meantime, while we doing that, we also trying to galvanize the people. Yo, let's get it together. Let's get our thing together. And because we know we got the power now. We seen that with the election. We know what kind of power we got. We got to enhance and increase that power more. And that's what I see wise as a way to, a couple of things that I see we can do to get us to where we need to be at.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do appreciate it. There are some things that I think that needs to happen in our country. There are some things that I think that needs to happen when it comes to, black people. I just don't think the reparations thing is going to happen. There's a couple of reasons behind that. Why? And as we get further and further away and you start seeing more and more, biracial families and things of that nature. I mean, you just watering down. If it was going to happen, it needed to happen a while back. And then some people would say, maybe it already happened, through Homestead Act and some of these other things, that have been, implemented. But removing the thought on reparation, which I think is a debilitating agenda, because you do have a lot of black people. I know you're not sitting there waiting, but you do have a lot of folks that are sitting there waiting on this thing, thinking that it's going to happen, and it's stopping them from making some proper moves and doing some proper things in their lives. I think the biggest issue in America right now, and I will say just in Black America right now, the biggest issue is that we don't have nuclear families. We are not together on the same page. We don't have Black men and Black women marrying each other, raising their children in those families. What we do know is that 26% of Black women are married. 1 in 4 are married. And if you go and start looking in your families, people say, oh man, I don't know about those stats. Start looking in your family and see how many of your aunts, your cousins, and your sisters got husbands. It's few and far between. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking, I can see it in my own family. Now, my parents, my mom, you know, my dad, they've been married for a very long time, but my sister's not married and she's 2 years younger than me. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins that aren't married. You know what I'm saying? And I got some other family members that are not married. So we could change some things. We could change our plight in a generation if people actually start pushing the foundation of marriage. And I'm not saying just marry anybody, because I think when you choose to marry somebody, that is like one of the, that's probably the biggest decision that you're going to make in your life, you know, outside of choosing to follow Christ. That's just my opinion. But the lack of families in this country, what you talked about, Aaron, in reference to, you know, how Black people were in the early 1900s, you know what we did have at that time? Granted fact, with all the odds that were stacked against us, we had families, we had moms, dads, and we had moms, dads raising those children. You know what I'm saying? My wife's grandmother owned a store out in Annapolis, family store. Her and her husband, the kids worked there, so forth and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like we got away from those types of things. And the reality of it is, if you don't have a strong family, if you don't have a strong spouse, wife, it's hard to build. People talk about this generational. It's hard to build generational wealth when you got 3 or 4 kids by 3 or 4 different chicks. And your money is being spread out all over the place, because once you do that, you put the government in your family. You put the government in your pockets when you do that. And now they get to tell you how much money is going here and how much money is going there. And it puts you in a position where you can't invest the way that you need to. You can't go and start that business that you need to start, because your money ain't yours no more. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, that is the number one thing that needs to change. Actually, I'll take that back. We've gotten away from God. So Crystal, she's right there with it. We need to get back to, you know, following the word. But then from there, if you get back to following the word, it will put you in a position where you will strive to actually go find a husband, find a wife, and find somebody that you can build with. And the number 3 thing that we got to do is we have to take this education. And I ain't talking about going to get a college degree. I ain't talking about that. But I'm talking about obtaining the skill sets that are needed, you know what I'm saying, to go out here and really compete economically. We got to do those things. Those are the things that are missing right now in Black America. You got a lot of people going, you got Black women going to get degrees, but they're getting degrees in fields that ain't gonna pay them no bread. You know what I'm saying? So now you $100,000 in debt for a job that's gonna pay you max. Hey, the top 10% is gonna make 60, 70. You know what I'm saying? But you $100,000 in debt. So you got a lot of people going to get these degrees, but they're making poor choices as far as the major, because they're not really forecasting and saying, let me look out and see what's the top earners are gonna make in this. And you can look out, you're gonna spend $150,000, $200,000 on a degree that the top 10% makes $65,000. That don't make sense. And all this information is readily available today. Now, people can jump on TikTok and learn whatever the next line dance is, but they won't take the time to go forecast and say, hey, what are the skill sets of the future that are going to be in demand from between 2025 and 2035? And let me make sure that I steer my kids and potentially maybe even myself. Because some of us, you're not too old to retrain and things of that nature. My grandma graduated college in her 40s. So it can be done if you're willing to do so. But it's those 3 things, in my opinion, those are the things that need to happen. And to be honest with you, if we start going in those ways, you know what I'm saying? The wealth gap would come down. Now, I do agree with you with the life insurance thing. I'm tired of seeing young Black men die and then a GoFundMe comes up. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know what time it is with these kids. Go get some life insurance on these kids. You know what I'm saying? Go do that and go get some life insurance on yourself. So you get no argument from me on the life insurance. And I thought Charleston White, you know, he hit or miss, but he was on point with that one. He hit or miss, but he was on point with that, with the life insurance game. I do agree with you there, bro. But what are your thoughts, Crystal?
Well, Wise, you already know, because you basically went in my mind and pull out majority of what I said, which is we need to get back to God. If people follow Proverbs, all we got to do is follow Proverbs. We'll be on the right track. We need to get back to God first and foremost. We definitely have to build back up the family 100%, because you're just seeing people just having children everywhere. I mean, people are aspiring to be the Nick Cannons of the world with the 1,000,001 children. And you're like, what is happening? Every time I turn around, someone has like 1,001 children. I'm like, are you taking care of all these children? And all these women that sign up to be your baby mamas? Like, I'm very confused as to this mindset. What is happening here? You definitely have to educate, and it's educate real life skills. I'm tired of people coming out here with these feeling degrees. Everybody got feeling degrees. Stop with the feeling degrees. Let us have real common sense things that we are learning. Understanding how to manage our bank accounts, how to invest, how to properly take care of ourselves, how to properly take care of the community, how to actually have skill sets. My dad always said to me, have a skill set. You want to have skills. You want to have a trade. You don't want to just know things, because then people are paying for your skills versus you begging people for time. This is what it comes down to. And I remember him saying that. So teaching people properly, and I feel like we need to remove, especially within the Black community, we need to remove these bad actors that are the fake Black civil rights leaders that I always talk about, because they are fake Black civil rights leaders. We need to remove them because they're toxic. We need to remove the people that they put up front, the Cardi B's of it all, the Meg Thee Stallions, the ratchetry. That's what I call them, the ratchetry of it all. We need to remove them, because now you have the younger generation sitting there observing these people and trying to aspire to this mindset, which why? This is not what they're supposed to be doing. So remove that from our faces. And, like I said, I agree with the insurance thing. I listen, I have insurance on myself and my children 100%. And we definitely need to remove that victim mentality mindset. I agree, Aaron, when you were saying about we can be proud of being Black. And I won't say be proud, understand that God made us uniquely different, and it's beautiful. This is who we are. That's beautiful. But when I say stop the idolatry of Blackness, where this is the only thing you see. So again, your mindset is I am better because of my melanin, or people hate me because of my melanin. Everything is solely focused on that so much that you can't see straight. When I say find your identity in Christ, because when you find your identity in Christ, your mindset, I don't look at anybody better than me. I look at anything that you could do, I could do. There's nobody. Listen, the God that I serve, listen, I have favor all day long. I can do just about anything. So I don't have to sit down and say, because of my Blackness, this door has to open for me. Absolutely not. Because Kamala was fake Black. I call her fake Black too. Why? Because she was not Black. I am from the Caribbean. I know how that works. She was fake Black. We should give her a pass because she does nothing. She really doesn't do anything. But because she's fake Black, we need to give her a place. And I think that's a mindset that our community has to get out of. If we go to a Black-owned business and they're not doing it properly, let's get in on them. Come on, let's work on this. We need to do proper customer service. We need to handle the situation correctly. We need to hold them accountable. We need to hold everyone accountable. It's not about your Blackness. That's what I'm saying when I say stop idolizing your Blackness, because that should be the end all be all. Absolutely not. That's what I mean in that. But I agree with you. We should be proud of how God made us. Now, this reparations thing, Wise, this is what we call and somebody put it there, and this is what I always say, it's a carrot on a stick, because Black America is so invested in this. We want our reparations. We need to get our reparations. We're supposed to get our reparations. This is why the Democratic Party, the deep state, those people use that as a carrot on the stick. And Black people are always, as soon as they say, we're going to give you reparations. Do you remember, Wise, when Kamala got up there with, was it Al Sharpton, at the National Black something, and they got up and they were like, "What about reparations?" And she said, "We put it on the desk, and I will sign it into law." And I'm like, "Stop lying! You're lying to the people."
Yeah,
But then a lot of Black people, they were like, "We got to support her because she's going to get us our reparations." No, she's not.
But she also said prior to that in another interview, she said, "I'm not going to do it. No, I ain't going to do anything about no reparations, and I'm not going to do anything specifically for Black people." She said that out of her mouth. So, I mean, and that's the thing. And that's why I say, I'm like, people got to stop this reparations conversation. It's debilitating because it's used to manipulate Black people to supporting the Democrat Party. It's being used to manipulate. It has been. The reality of it is this, and Aaron, I'm gonna let you get back in here because we are definitely going longer than I expected. But the reality of it is this: I'm gonna stand on this marriage conversation of Black people getting married. We need Black men and Black women marrying, raising their children, creating nuclear families. I'm gonna stay on that because when you look at the data, when you look at married Black people, or let's say married Black people, married people in general in America, the wealth disparities are very, very, very minimal. Very minimal. Now, when you look at overall, Black people earnings are at the bottom. We're at the bottom of the socioeconomic totem pole when you think about overall earnings. You know what I'm saying? We're right there in that. I think it was like $40,000 a year in quote unquote household income. But the reason why we're there is because we are the least married people in the country. If you make 40,000 and your wife make 40,000, that's an $80,000 household income. Now, the reality of it is married Black people, the household income is in the 100,000s, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? It's in the 100,000. And that's why I was saying the wage disparities are very, very minimal. Now, there's some other things that I'll say, and I will say in general in America, you know, because everybody's complaining about the money. In America in general, we have spending problems. We have a covetousness issue in this country. We covet a lot of things that we shouldn't be coveting. You know what I'm saying? And we compare ourselves, you know what I'm saying, to other people thinking that they got it going on. But in reality, they just in the debt. They in debt up to here. They ain't really got it like that. I know you see it in Atlanta all the time. You know what I'm saying? You'll see people riding around in that, you know, in that little Mercedes C-Class with the designer on, broke is all get out. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because they're not making any money. It's just because they overdoing it. They just overdoing it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to stay on. We have to come together and start building these families, man. People talk about the government, but are really quick to put the government in their business. Think about this, man. And Aaron, I'm gonna get you in here. But people are. Oh, you got we got the background on it. But people hate. They do not want the government. But you will go out, you know what I'm saying, and put the government in your business by having multiple baby mamas. You'll put them in your business. Because once you do that, you've given them the authority over your earnings and over your livelihood for the next 2 decades. And depending on how many kids you have, you know, in that situation, it could be, you know, 2.5 decades or longer. You want to talk about something that stops generational wealth? Have a couple baby mamas and get the government in your business and taking money and pilfering your daggone paycheck every daggone week. That will stop your growth. But I'm gonna get you in there, Aaron. I'm gonna give you the last word. Well, I'll get you, and then Crystal will get you the last word as well.
Oh, you sent it to me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Because I had to plug my phone into charge up because it was losing power. There's something I would like both of y'all to see, and your audience wise. It was no jumper. I think yesterday or the day before yesterday was an interview between a Black conservative and a white supremacist. Very good program. I'm not a no jumper fan, Adam 22, but it was a good show.
Can you email that to me?
Sure. And a very, very good show, and a lot of, now you won't get no argument with me about the marriage thing. Yes, because in that interview, in that show, they was talking about that. And when we back then in those years that we were married, and just about 50 years out of I think it was 50 years out of slavery or either Jim Crow, our wealth, we more than halfway past the wealth gap
Yeah. Yeah.
in less
The
than a
wealth gap
century.
disparity
Right.
was getting closer and closer. We were almost there.
Right. Now to clarify something about the reparations thing, it's not a carrot. That there ain't nobody dangling no carrot. And the see what it is. Most people don't want us talking about it. They want us to be quiet about it. Stop talking about reparations. Stop talking about it. No, we ain't gonna stop talking about it, because just like anything out here, somebody owe you some money. They might tell you every time they see you ain't got it, but I'm gonna let you know you still owe me that money. So I want that. You ain't got it. All right, I'm gonna accept what you're saying, but I still want it. I don't care if it's 20 years later. You owe me $100, man. You understand? So it's not about a dangling carrot and that it keeps us, because it's not a distraction for me, because I'm gonna still get out. I ain't never sat around and waited for nothing in my life. And I don't know I know tens of thousands of black people, and 98% of them people work every day, working hard. Now there's a few broke people I know that's hanging around. They waiting for a soup kitchen to open up, or they waiting for somebody to send them some food stamps, on the on the little card or whatever. There's some people like that, but the most people I know, they getting out here grinding. So all that a lot of that stuff is tropes that people put out there as talking points that really ain't got no merit to it. You understand? And they want us to stop talking about reparations. Now you have white people that want, because they don't like the guilt, that the uncomfortability that the history of that makes them feel. Now the black people you hear talking against it, usually when you look at their background, they don't qualify for it, so they don't want us talking about it, because they wouldn't qualify for it. And the other ones, the bootlicks and the coons who talk against it, they're doing that because there's an audience for that. And just like the race hustlers you talk about on our side that making money off that, they making money off it too, because now they got an audience that say, see this coon here. And that's how white people ain't gonna love you because you licking their boots. They don't care about that. In fact, they'll use you until they can't use you no more and tell you to get out of here. Jason Whitlock. You understand? There's a couple more. Candace Owens. Get out of here. The minute you go against the grain a little bit, get out of here. Now, you got, like you said, the Vince Ellison dude. Them dude, it's just that the bootlicking it's a market for bootlicking too. So, but that's the thing. But I'm with you on the marriage thing. We have to get, this is why I said we need total separation, because we have to start getting back into ourselves. Yes, we need fathers in the home, because when I was coming up, my parents stayed married for 40-something years before they one died off and then the other one died off. But all my mother had to do was say, I'm gonna tell your father. That's all she had to say. And I told you, Wise, my father didn't talk much. He wasn't a talkative dude. He talked to you with his eyes and his motions and his facial expressions. He didn't have time to do a whole lot of talking. My father had 10 brothers and 4 sisters. That's how he came up hard. And he was a hard man. He softened up when the grandkids started coming. He softened up. But yeah, I'm with you on that about the building up the families, because the nucleus of the family is where the strength is. So I'm in agreement with that. I yield.
Get in there, Crystal. What are your thoughts?
So I love Aaron, but we never gonna disagree. We ain't never gonna agree. We ain't never gonna agree. I love my New York brother, but we ain't never gonna agree, because listen, when we say carrot on a stick, because that is how the Democratic Party has held Black people in their party because they keep promising them reparations. And Black people continue to be in their emotions and be like, they're going to give it to us. They're going to give it to us. They're not watching on the other side what, take for instance, Trump is doing. If you sit down and actually listen to the Black Americans who were sitting here supporting Kamala and were cheering for Kamala, their mindset is Donald Trump is doing nothing. But when you actually sit down and pay attention, you can see all that he's doing. I don't agree that Vince Ellison is a bootlicker because he's dropping knowledge. He's dropping truth. He's letting people know. In fact, he actually said that it was during the Jim Crow time, and then it was MLK that they used to get us to stop, to move into this civil rights mindset, where now we have specific civil rights leaders that we have to entrust with our future instead of, like that young man said, doing it for ourselves, taking care of our neighborhood, taking care of all of the things that we can do and stop looking at the government. So I 100% agree with Vince. To me, usually when they call me a bootlicker because I just don't agree with the foolishness. Because we, as Black people, we need to take accountability for our own mess. We have our own mess that we need to clean up. And I don't agree that white people would throw you away because I have some wonderful white people that surround me all of the time, encourage me. In fact, they support me harder than a lot of Black people because there are a lot of Black people who would throw. Why is I even going to tell you the names I've been calling TikTok and all these other places for preaching the truth, sharing the truth. But these white people, they will stop and they be like, you know what? She's speaking truth. Let me hear what she has to say. So I don't agree that the white people will hold on to you and throw you away. I believe that there are people who identify with Christ and stop looking at their ethnicity, and they have a common sense mindset. Their eyes, they don't have the veil over their eyes. They don't have the victim mentality over their eyes. They understand anything that you can do, I can do. They understand a man that does not work does not eat. They understand it is about family. God put man and woman together and said, be fruitful and multiply. We need families. They understand these things. So it's not a mindset of these people are bootlickers. These people are trying to stop us from getting reparations. No, you just have to see it from the proper point of view. They're literally holding all the Black people that still sit down in the Democratic Party is because they're literally waiting for this reparations. That's what they're doing. They're waiting for it. They're waiting patiently, and it's an emotional roller coaster for them because every time I hear someone step up, the first thing they say, we're going to get y'all some reparations. And Black people go running, we're going to support this candidate because they're going to get us some reparations. And then we sit down there and we're waiting. And then they finish their 4 years, their 2 years, their 6 years, whatever it is. And they'd be like, well, I thought they were going to do something for our community. No, stop waiting for these people. They're not giving you reparations. Let's come to reality. No one's giving you reparations when they come up here promising you that. They're not giving it to you. So get out that emotion. Stop looking at them for them to take care of your neighborhood because they're not going to take care of their neighborhood. In fact, a lot of them get into these positions because they're picked, they're chosen to be a representative because they're going to be the perfect puppet to keep Black people in line the way the deep state and those people want Black people to be in line. That whole Marxist mentality, they want Black people to stay in that mindset. And then we wonder why we are not moving forward because we're waiting on people instead of using the talents and the gift that God blessed us with and doing what we need to do for our own community and then teaching our youth how to do it as well. That is what the Jews do well. That is what the Indians do well. That is what the Asians do well. They teach their young people what to do and help them to progress in life. They teach them the foundation of life instead of sitting here, us deciding that we need to be the next Cardi B, the next Meg Thee Stallion, the next LeBron. No, there's other things that you could do. You could help build up your community. Everybody's not going to make it in that space. Stop looking for these things. Stop waiting on the government. Stop doing this. Get back to God. Get back to families. Get back to properly educating your kids. The way my parents, I'm sure y'all parents did the same thing, truly educated your children so that when we have to step out into the world stage, we were ready. We were good citizens. We knew exactly what to do. And if we go back to doing that and stop all this idolatry, I'm telling you, the Black community, we are very innovative. We are very intelligent. We're very talented. We can do so much, but we sit down in this victim mentality and let this carrot on the stick of reparations keep us confused, and we're not going nowhere. That's what we do.
Wow. I got a couple super chats I want to read. There was a question for you directly, Aaron, so I want you to address that. But shout out to Eric Smith with the $5 super chat. He says, do you think Roland Martin is doing what Vince Ellison refers to as the Tocqueville effect? I'm not really sure what that is. I'm not familiar with the Tocqueville effect, but I'll do some research on that. Shout out to AT with the $5 super chat. He says, absolutely love the perspectives here. And can we take a minute to appreciate the phenomenal beard, Crystal's amazing hair, and a clean car? Thank you, AT. Appreciate that, brother. Shout out to, I believe it's Fudge 357. He says, I appreciate real authentic conversations on this panel. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat. And this one right here is for you, Aaron. Kiwan Lynette with the $2 super chat says, Aaron, would you do a debate with Mr. Ellison? She's Vince Everett Ellison. Would you debate him?
Debate him for what? What would be the point in me debating him? He has his followers. He doing what he do. I do what I do. Debate him for what? What would be the result or the goal in me debating him? Do I dislike him? No, I don't dislike. I think something, because I look at him, he be blinking his eyes over the glasses and today, he's very animated. I think that, let me say this. When I say bootlickers and stuff like that, usually Black folks that don't like the quote unquote ghetto mentality, they don't like the culture, is because they come in with a bias against it because of some experiences that they had or traumatized in younger years. So they don't like the cool or popular people or whatever like that. So they have something always bad to say about the culture. And you could tell a bootlick because they always talk down and pointing the finger and punching down at Black folks. Never got nothing to say negative about white folks. Never. And that's where the bootlick effect and the coon and the Samboing come in at.
Well, I don't think Vince. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I don't think Vince Everett Ellison falls into that category. I mean, I've heard him, speak on, the ills of white people. I've heard him do that, but I think his conversation is around how do we move forward as Black people? How do we move forward as Black people? So his goal, and if you look at any of the books that he's read, his goal is to educate Black people. All of the books, the 25 Lies, the Iron Triangle, his goal, I think his goal, his premise, his agenda is to educate Black people. One, pull them off the Democrat plantation, but also let them know you are not a victim. And the reality of it is, man, as a man thinketh, so is he. Whatever you think you are, whatever you say you are, you have to be. That is a true fact. Whatever you say you are, whatever you think you are, it is true. So when you got people out here like a Roland Martin, Angela Rye, Jasmine Crockett, Jim Clyburn, so many others out there tell you that you are a victim, you are oppressed, you can't make it in America. And the only reason that he can give you the reason why is because you Black. And then you have people that ingest that. Because if you think about this, Vince Everett Ellison telling Black people, reject that thought, reject those types of thoughts, that premise, that agenda. In my opinion, the true sellouts, the true bootlicks are the people that are pushing that agenda right there. The Roland Martins, the Angela Ryes, the Tiffany Crosses, you can go down a list of those types of people telling Black people. Now, mind you, these are multimillionaires. These are people that they got the bag, but they're telling you can't do it because you Black. Now, these people, they done gone and got educated. They've done going, you know, they're making all this money, and there is an industry there. They get paid to do it. So here it is. And the thing is that anytime you get a black man or a black person in general, go out there telling black people, you're not a victim. You're not oppressed. Get up and marry that woman that you had these kids with. Get up and stop having, you know what I'm saying, kids by multiple dudes. You know they wasn't worth a damn. You knew it. You knew it when you got with him. He already had 3 kids by 3 other chicks that he wasn't taking care of. You know it. Don't do it. See, when people come, because the thing is that people don't like the truth. The truth hurts. You know what I'm saying? And the truth, it will cut you. It's a double-edged sword. It will cut you coming and going. And the thing is that unfortunately, our people, we like to be pandered to. We like the lies. Matter of fact, we would prefer a soft lie than the hard truth. And to be honest with you, that's probably most people. Most people prefer to be lied to and pandered to opposed to being told the truth. But anytime a black person steps out there and starts talking the truth, because what you talked about, Aaron, those are the same things that, Brother Malcolm was talking about back in the day, the separation, but really about do for self. Get out there and go clean up your own communities. Get out there and go marry your women. Quit running away from your families and your responsibility. Those are the things that not only they were talking about back then, but they still, Brother Lewis, Honorable Louis Farrakhan, he been talking the same thing. They ain't changed, you know. And I haven't seen a whole lot of, I haven't seen a whole lot of action from them in the sense of, you know, really pushing that and really trying to help people. Although I have seen some things where they've done some things where it comes to help people get off drugs and things of that nature. But I'm just saying, when you got the real sellouts are the people that make money off of us being in this plight. And this downtrodden plight and this oppressive mindset, they make money off of it. And anytime someone like Vince comes out and starts giving people the brutal truth, they get called everything but a child of God because they're telling you, get up off your tail. Now, the crazy thing is, you will have people come out here and say how evil white people are, but then turn around and say we need those same white people to give us something. It don't make sense. They'll say this is how evil these white people are, but then turn around and send your kids to be educated by them. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. I'm gonna give you a chance to respond to that, Aaron. I want to read this super chat. Shout out to Mythology Noir. He says they gave out money to migrants. They gave money to the alphabet community, Ukraine, Israel, all these foreign interests, spent money like it was water. They dismissed reparations. Why would anyone think it would ever happen? Yeah, I do agree with that. And this is the Democrats. They did that. You know what I'm saying? So when are people going to wake up and say, and stop believing these daggone people? Again, I'm not telling people to run to the Republican Party. I'm telling people to be independent, do your own due diligence. And the reality of it is, if black people really want that type, if you really want something like that, put your money where your mouth is and start putting money behind your own candidates and put them in positions where they can do your bidding like everybody else does. Aaron, I'll give you the last word. We're gonna get out of here.
Okay. Real quick. One thing I'm gonna say this again. That trope about people sitting down. If you got some fool sitting around waiting and well, I ain't gonna do nothing because they're gonna give up. Democrat gonna give up reparations. You's a fool. You's not a fool. You's a damn fool. So I don't know nobody sitting around waiting. So I think that's a trope. Here's the thing, right? I'm not tied to no party. The Democrats came with those government programs, and unfortunately, a lot of our people bid on that. The welfare programs, get the man out the house. On the heels of the feminist movement, you don't need no man. But them white women ain't leave they men. You left your man, black woman. White woman ain't leave they man. You fell into that. I don't need no man. I can do this by myself because I'm married to the government. And then on top of that, they came with the Rockefeller laws. When them brothers came back from Vietnam, they came with them Rockefeller laws and swept all them brothers incarcerated and locked up with those Rockefeller laws. Then after that, Biden came with the 1994 crime bill. A lot of brothers went away. And Trump just pardoned Larry Hoover. He just commuted his sentence. Larry Hoover he had 5 life terms. So my thing is this. to answer your question, Wise, and to the people in the chat, I didn't vote for Donald Trump, but let me say this. All of those entitlement programs, take them all away, because I want our people off of that crap. I don't want none of that. Take away all the EBT, to wear all of that, because now the men have to come back into the home. Take away all
women,
of that stuff.
hey, women they gotta choose the right men.
Look, at that point, if the Negro got a pulse, she gonna want him in the house. If he ain't got nothing but a pulse.
Hey, Aaron, I said that. I was like, hey, all this other stuff I got to settle. Hey, it will be a pulse and a place. If he got those two things.
Wise, you crazy. Wise, you crazy. You crazy for that one. But look, man, he's taking away all that stuff, and I want him to gut all of it, all the entitlement programs, all of the things that kept families apart. I'm taking it all away. I'm here for that. He might, the Republican might get my vote the next ticket if they keep going the way they're going. The Democrats came with them entitlement programs, and those were designed and targeted at the black family nucleus, and those were the power brokers behind that.
Hey, Kiwan Lynette with the $2 super chat. She said, would you call Vince Everett Ellison a bootlick to his face?
Yeah. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? Would I supposed to be scared of him? I mean, that's what they trying to ask me. Why wouldn't I?
I guess.
But it's not, see, they taking it to a personal level, like it's not a personal beef. When I say he's a bootlicker, I don't mean, now he does say some things that I agree with. But like I said, when you constantly punching down at black folks, and then when I see you on Pat Bet David's show with them tight, and somebody get that brother, tell that brother he need a tailor, man. Them suits is way too tight. Them suits is way too tight, man. You look crazy wearing them.
Aaron, am I a bootlicker?
I don't think you're a bootlicker, sweetheart. I think that your heart is in the right place. I don't necessarily agree with some of your position, and some of it I do agree with. I wouldn't call it, because I haven't heard you say anything bootlickish. Now, if you say something bootlickish and I see you constantly punching down on black folks, but then the minute a white person walk in the room, you grinning and you bucking your eyes, and yeah, you a bootlicker then.
So no accountability for black people?
Of course, who said no accountability?
But that's what I'm saying.
That's another trope. Oh, we don't like accountability. Well,
you don't.
Y'all ain't been listening to me, because I'm gonna hold you accountable. Even if when I do wrong, I hold myself accountable. So that's a trope. That's not, that might come from them Democrats, but we not with the Democrats. We not with them. I don't even like the Democrats. I'm a conservative. I'm conservative leaning. I don't like the Democrats at all.
Aaron, bless your heart. Bless your heart.
I appreciate you guys, man. Go ahead. I'll let you finish up.
Go ahead, Crystal.
I just said bless your heart. Bless.
Okay.
God bless your heart.
Bless you too. But no, I don't. What I've seen of you interacting with you haven't. I haven't seen none of your TikToks or nothing. But I don't think you come across as bootlickish. Now, if I see something, I'm going, she's bucking eyes a little bit. She cooning a little bit. You understand? But I haven't seen that, so I can't say that to you right here. But if I seen that, yeah, I would say it. But I think your heart is in the right place.
Thank you, Wise.
I think your heart is in the right place.
I said I love my New York brother. We just have a difference of opinion. But thank you, Wise.
It's all good. Hey, civil discourse is good. I think that's a lot of our issue is that we can't get in rooms and have conversations like this without people getting all irate and upset and frustrated. I'll disagree with Aaron in calling, Vince Everett Ellison a bootlick. I don't think so. I think his heart is 100% in the right place. And I watched his interview on PBD. I didn't see him, sinning and grinning and tap dancing. I didn't see that. Now, I did see him call out Roland, and Roland still ain't accepted that call out. He still ain't did that, but we know that's not going to happen because that's just not in his nature. He don't want to be just like what you mentioned, when Roland went out to Chicago, and the brother walked up on him and was like, what was that? And he was like, matter of fact, he actually ran behind a couple women. That dude ran behind a couple women and was like, oh, man. And he had women, linebacker types, you know what I'm saying, in front, protecting them. You know what I mean? But I wish we could get past someone that we disagree with in that way. I wish we could get out of, calling someone, a coon or a bootlick or something along those lines just because you disagree, with said individual, or one or two things. I wish we could move past that. You know what I'm saying? That's something that I would like to see us do, is move past that type. Because I don't think it helps. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. And then it makes us look crazy. You know what I'm saying, to everybody else on the outside, because now they're looking at us like, man, this dude's actually talking some sense, and they hate him for it. You know what I'm saying? And I'd like to see us move past, hey, I disagree, and I gotta call him something crazy like that. I'd like to see us do that, man. But I appreciate y'all pulling up this morning, man. Thank you very much. We're in the afternoon, man. Hey, Aaron, appreciate you. Hey, actually, tomorrow we're gonna do you got feedback in the back. We're going to do a panel tomorrow. We're going to talk about this Miss Shirley phenomenon that's going on. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I'll send you an email today once I get off of here while it's fresh on my mind, because I'd love to hear I'd love to hear your take on that situation. I don't know if you're familiar with Miss Shirley. Miss Shirley's a 4-year-old little girl. They call her Miss Shirley. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But we're going to talk about that tomorrow and a couple of things, man. If you guys have any other ideas, to discuss on the panel tomorrow, shoot me an email. But I'll send that email to you. I'll send you an invite here in a little bit, man. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you both for pulling up. Crystal, thank you as always, for gracing us with your presence. Definitely appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you, Aaron, as well. We'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. We'll have both of y'all pull up tomorrow. Hey, shout out to you guys, man. I appreciate you guys pulling up and rocking with us the entire time, man. This was awesome, man. Y'all hung out with us the entire time, and I definitely appreciate the guys. Shout out to the guests. Billy Jack pulled up for a little bit with some great insight. Shout out to Aaron. I know you guys don't agree with everything he says. Hell, I don't agree with everything that he says, but I do think the brother's heart is in the right place. I do think that. Shout out to Crystal as well. Appreciate them pulling up as well this morning. Kind of impromptu panel. Tomorrow will pretty much be a panel show. The entire show will be a panel. We're going to have a few people on. I know Minister Denzel's pulling up. I know Crystal's pulling up, and there was a few other people that I reached out to I hadn't heard back from yet, but we'll see. If we'll get them to pull up, and we'll have a pretty good conversation tomorrow. I still may actually open it up and have some call-ins for anybody that would like to join the panel for a brief second and give your insights on, what we'll be discussing tomorrow. But we got to talk about this Miss Shirley situation. If you're not familiar, just look up Miss Shirley and some line dancing. Go look it up on TikTok or whatever the case may be. It's all over the place. It's a daggone mess. But I do appreciate you guys, man. I do appreciate you guys, man, pulling up and hanging out with us for, dang, man, almost 3 hours. And here I said this morning, I'm like, man, we're going to try to keep this thing tight, man. We're going to try to keep this to an hour and a half. And here we are almost at 3 hours. This is crazy. If you haven't hit that like button already, man, please make sure you hit that like button. I think we were over 400 likes. Time flies when you're having fun and when you're having good conversation, man. Goodness gracious. Wow. But I do appreciate you guys, man. As always, man, keep God first. Stay prayed up. We will catch up with you all next time. Peace.
Vibes so raw, can't hide the truth. Words so sharp.